Welcome, agents, to strain 93-NMB of the 0 Point Report, the #1 broadcast all about the news surrounding the Secret World IP. Today is Thursday, June 20th, 2024, and with me tonight, we have our hosts, Waffle.
Morning.
How you doing? Jimmy the Rabbit.
Ew.
How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
How you doing?
And I'm Ocho. Welcome to the 0 Point Report. How are you guys doing?
Surviving this heat.
I was going to say, today's the summer solstice as well, yeah.
Ugh.
I'm dead.
But hey, from here, it just gets, the light
Worse?
gets less and less.
It's worse.
It gets worse. Melting. Yeah, everything's hot right now. And fun. My AC is like broken, so it's good times. So
Nice.
but it's okay. We're here. It's all right. We're all good. But yes, today's the summer solstice. We're having a show. We hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining us. If you are, we're currently hanging out in Agartha. Got around me, right? 2-Ton Waffle. Bomber, I see you in the background there, Freeborn. Ephemeral Lapin. And Dawn
cool.
Charger has joined us here in Agartha. But are you with us? Are you with us in the show? Are you with us here? Are you watching? That's the question. Let me just go ahead.
See, Bomber knows what's up.
Oh. Being a little cheeky monkey, aren't you?
I mean, I don't see how the name and or the costume isn't a dead giveaway.
Yeah, but any of your characters have the big bunny head.
I've got bunny ears. I've got a bunny jacket.
Oh, see, I saw Freeborn in the background. I thought that was you.
That is me too.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Hello, me. Meet the real me. I'm testing
dual boxing. Okay. All right.
I
Well, the real Jimmy, please stand up.
So this one, Ephemeral Lapin right here. This is my marathon character that still has Jimmy mode on him.
Okay.
And the reason he's ephemeral is because he has the ephemeral weapons, the ones from the tutorial dream sequence that you don't get to keep.
Oh, right.
Weapon.
Okay.
So,
I don't know all your names.
Well, I renamed it. It was called Marathon Man before, but it was one of the extra life streams where I did like the make a new character, run to the end of the game, right? Novell was there and threw Jimmy mode on this character on the live server. So like random, like my controls change all the time and random shit happens, right? And then when I finally got to the penthouse with the Udas, like, oh, for a challenge, even though it's already a challenge because my controls are randomly changing and like there's the achievement not to get hit by the Uda's attacks.
Of course.
It's a lot harder when your controls randomly shift to where like forward is backwards and left and right and back do nothing. You can only walk backwards, right? Anyways, he's like, oh, that's not hard enough. You can have level 0 weapons to do it with. And he gave me the white weapons from the tutorial. So I have here, look, I'll put, I think, oh wait, I have to unequip this. I think if you look, like Waffle, if you inspect me, I think you should see them.
Inspect. Happy midnight in game. Yep, ephemeral blade. And ephemeral elementalism.
Yeah,
focus.
the white weapons. Yeah, like you only have them in the dream sequence. So no one else has those. Nor would you want them because they do like negative damage basically. Like they're really really shit. Anyways, I did the Uda achievement with Jimmy mode debuff and white weapons as part of like the extra live stream at the time. And then I decided since I finished the treadmill run,
nice,
this basic only treadmill is done. I was like, wouldn't it be cool, kind of in between challenges, to just see how far I can level this guy up?
What I do?
Like, have a character that has Jimmy mode buff and like, you know, max level content. By the way, already
try to get him up there. Yeah,
already E4.
Okay, all right.
So we are on our way to E5. Which is pretty good.
It's just you go into dungeons and now just random shit's happening around you in dungeons anyway. Suddenly, like, you know, all these extra spawns come in. I don't know. It's
just me dying randomly because my controls switch and I get stuck in an AoE that I can't get out of. That's like 90% of it. The elite spawns or the random boss spawns are super rare. Super rare. Like it's like a 1% chance or something. It has happened though. The other day on stream, a wild train just appeared in Scorched Desert. Or no, sorry, not Scorched Desert, City of the Sun God. And started attacking me. Like the Dark Agartha version, you know? And then I forget where I was when the Leets showed up, but I was like, Leets! And then they ate my ankles and I died.
You're like, of course, that's what they do.
Like it happened so fast. I was like, what? They were so cute for like 2 seconds.
You're like, hey, buddies, hey, how you? No. Oh wait. Yes, I asked for this.
The rabbit.
It wasn't even a no. It was like, hey, whoa, shit, I'm dead. It was so fast, so fast.
It's almost like, say, if you're going in there with such into now grouping with such low weapons. I mean, but your gear's okay. As you know, that's actually real gear. You're not going into the dungeons with like level with the white weapons. Are you?
No, but the plan would be, like, if I can get the character to like E17, right, if I can max it out, then I might do like challenge stuff with the white weapon.
Okay, all right.
You know what I mean?
You're going into the dungeons with all the white weapons and just being like, "I'm here, guys, pew pew."
Because back on Jimmy, right, when I was done maxing him out, like I did like no talismans, green level 1 weapons, like Dark Agartha or something, right? Like I did challenges like that. So, so in this character, I could do it, but with white weapons and with my controls being flipped. All right, so it'd be different.
That works. If you fear my booping, I will boop the snoot. So yes, welcome. So we do have. I went through, found all the news that I could for both Secret World and I should say we could. We all found news. And other Funcom properties.
It's news and I helped.
Say first and foremost, the Secret World for Savage Worlds completed their Kickstarter, Star Anvil Studios. Their Kickstarter completed on May 25th at 1138 backers, totaling $69,000.
Nice.
Say for comparison, Secret World 5e raked in $154,000 with 1,944 backers. So 5e was more popular, obviously. As 5th edition tends to be. That's why they went with 5th edition first. But good to see that they completed another Kickstarter at over 400% what they were asking for. and also reaching a number of stretch goals as well. Did I bring that one up? Let me bring that one up real quick. I actually did not have that one ready. Let's see, how many stretch goals do we got here? So they got up to 69,000. Would have put them not at the faction action desks, but they got figure flats. Basically, Secret World figurines, these little stand-up cardboard figurines of Secret World monsters and players and whatnot. An adventure generator will help you quickly come up with missions for your agents and will be added to the core rulebook. At $30,000, a second audio drama, and as opposed to their first one, which was released with the first Kickstarter, and at $25,000, they had lucked an adventure by J.M. DeFoggy, famed creator J.M. DeFoggy of The Jackals, The Return of Dr. Destruction. They will pen a Savage Tale adventure for Secret World. So a couple extra adventures to go along with it. That's quite exciting. I'm quite excited by that. So yeah, good on you, Star Anvil. Another successful Kickstarter. And we'll see how that turns out as time goes on. I'm sure we'll get more and more of, okay, now you can get the books, now you can get this, when that's all set to be sent out. But it should be relatively quicker since they already got it done through 5e. Yeah, that was already a thing that they already had done. And they've been around the block. They know what's going on. So they also 7th anniversary is going to be coming up soon. Let's see, the 7th anniversary should be starting Monday, Tuesday.
Soon.
Monday, Tuesday is my guess. And that's from previous years. These are guesses from previous years. Last year, it started on June 24th, with the daily login starting the June 25th, the day after.
Yeah, that sounds plausible.
Yeah, kind of expecting the same. 24th, 25th, Monday, Tuesday is when I would sort of expect that to happen. But who knows? Who knows? They could turn it on anytime.
You could turn it on right now.
We can turn it on right now, yeah.
I still remember that Valentine's show.
Varmer, yeah. Varmer says, daily login rewards for the anniversary will begin June 25th. And Varmer knows because they do this shenanigans where they do shenanigans.
They cast chicken bones and mumble some voodoo.
Kind of.
Hoodoo?
Shenanigans? I mean, it's not like hardcore technical stuff. I think you just change the date on your computer and then just load the program.
Hey, why are you giving away the voodoo secrets? Wrong with you?
Jimmy, it's okay. No one listens to the show at all, so don't worry about it.
Damn it, he's got me.
Could they, though? All right, turn it on right now. I mean, they could turn it on right now. Would be fun. No, you can't claim login rewards that way. Shenanigans. I stick by shenanigans. But yes, starting on the daily login rewards starting on the 25th. Again, makes sense. That's when they started last year. And they've been super consistent with that too. 5th anniversary started on the 24th. 4th anniversary started on the 25th. And 3rd anniversary started on the 25th as well. But I guess somehow they got a day previous. They lost a day in there somewhere. Which happens. There are multiple player run events coming up during the anniversary as well. Yep. Most haven't been announced yet. Yep. Listen, Vommer. I've got that. We've got that. That's the story I was about to tell. So we found that as a 7th anniversary event already posted on the forums by Dawn Charger, standing next to us, Gaia's Copper Caper. They say, welcome to year 7 of Secret World Legends. Join me on the Copper anniversary of the game as we delve into Agartha's depths to uncover why vicious megabosses keep mysteriously appearing. Oh, right. It's because we're summoning them. Come and collaboratively crush the cursed colossi on this collective Copper commemoration. Okay, no, I need to try that one again. I thought I had that one. Come and collaboratively... No, I can't even say that right. Hold on.
Take 3.
Let's try it. Yeah, so I'll go. Hold on. Okay. All right. Rubber baby buggy bumpers. Rubber baby... Okay.
Carrots and peas and carrots.
Peas and carrots. Come and collaboratively...
Oh
I can't even get through that word. Come and collaboratively crush the cursed colossi on this collective Copper commemoration. This is a player-hosted event hosted by Dawn Charger, where they will summon 40 megabosses starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on June 28th, 2024. See you in Sanctuary and Looking for Group. Now my tongue is permanently twisted. Blah, blah, blah. Everything's just going to be mispronounced. Come and collaboratively crush the cursed colossi on this collective Copper commemoration. Close enough.
Come and collaboratively crush the crushed colossi on this collective Copper commemoration. Collaboratively crush the cursed colossi on the collective Copper Oh, it's the Copper commemoration, I think, that's the tricky part.
Collaboratively. I keep getting... I get collaboratively.
It's actually pretty easy, I think. That one flows.
Collaboratively.
Copper commemoration. The going from copper to commemoration, I think, is...
It's hard, yeah. They come and collaboratively crush the cursed colossi on this collective Copper commemoration. Close.
Yeah,
close.
I think it's a switch from cop to commemore. Like that part is like a weird shift.
It's a good tongue twister, is what we're saying. Usually I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good with tongue twisters. That one got me. But thank you, Dawn Charger, for hosting a upcoming event. Always good to see. Always good to see the 7th anniversary come and go. So it's starting on June 25th and lasting... How long does that one last? I do not have that written down. What is it, like 4 weeks?
I think it's usually about that, the anniversary.
Like, it's a big one. It's not like the equinoxes that are usually like 2 weeks. 21 days, 3 weeks. Okay. Split the difference between 2 and 4 weeks.
Somewhere in between there, you know?
Somewhere.
Yeah.
$40 megabosses. Good times. Say shout out to ToonBat for their help with the art, by the way. The art done for the
Copper collaboration.
Yeah, let me give that to you real quick. I'm going to give it to you.
Guys, that's for the Patreon. That's for the Patreon, okay?
That's extra bonus features.
Ocho, remember, we can't advertise that here on Twitch. It's against TOS.
It's in the
link tree.
It's in the link tree. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. So that reminds me. There's this climbing channel. There's this climbing channel on YouTube that I watch because I'm in like rock climbing stuff. And there's this bit where like like place setters were like setting rock climbing walls with very suggestive holds next to each other. So it just ends up like people. For one, everyone's just making penises on the hold wall. But then
Of course.
there'd be like two rounded jugs next to each other and like boobs like a butt. And then so he's like, oh, I'll make it OnlyFans and it'll just be like suggestive rock climbing holds, like collections, right? And so he did it, and then OnlyFans kicked him for what was it something like being like a bait and switch or something like that.
Man, when even OnlyFans is like, guys, no.
Yeah. What is like that? I mean, it's legitimately like where else would you put like suggestive?
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, that's something that you're not going to put on Penguin Club.
I just thought it was funny.
So yes, they helped Photoshop the screenshot for the ad. I will go ahead.
Yeah, the forum post.
Yeah.
This guy.
There you go.
It's very nice.
Copper Caper, I hope it is calamitously commingling fun. I don't know. Couldn't think of a third.
Really? That's what you went with? Fun?
There's plenty more C words that you can put in there.
I just couldn't think of them. My brain's kind of mush right now, I won't lie.
Depending on where the track was going.
Day.
Vommer has celebratory.
Celebratory, right? It is a celebratory, calamitous, cooperative conjuncture.
Okay.
Conceptual.
Maybe.
Constructive criticism.
I believe conjuncture. I'm going to look that word up. Hold on. Did I just make up a word? Conjuncture.
Cornucopia. Oh, look, there's cheap viewers on Your Mom.
Oh. Again? Definition of conjuncture, as in crisis, a time or state of affairs requiring prompt or decisive action. Okay, all right. Yeah, you can call that a conjuncture then.
You could have said crisis.
Right, crisis is also an easy one.
Conjugate with me? Hey, not without dinner first.
We're not that easy.
I mean, we are, but we don't need to advertise.
You're right. We are.
Yeah, we just make it seem some of us have class.
Ooh. More C words.
They're not on the stream right now, though.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks for coming out. Have a good night.
Comedy. Yeah, that would be a C word.
Comedy.
A real see you next Tuesday.
Comes to mind. I mean, kamikaze. This event was, obviously where you got all the C's and K's from.
Colloquial. Yes. Come on, that was a good one.
That was a good one. Yeah, no, I'm giving it to you.
Colloquial coming.
My mind keeps going back to catastrophic, and I'm like, nah, you already used that one. Sorry. It is certainly a collaboration, a collective collaboration.
Certainly.
Certainly. What else did we find? This one's interesting. The One Less Die tabletop podcast. I saw them post that they started a Secret World 5th edition live play cast. They published only one episode so far for Secret World. They published it on June 12th, so it is brandy new. They have a total of 261 episodes that they've done overall from all their tabletop sessions, though. So this is a long running podcast. This is a long running thing that they've done. So, but they've also started Secret World, but they also have others, like, you know, many other properties that they have done. Eberron, which is D&D. Red Markets, I never even heard of that one. Star Wars, Ravenloft. And I'm just going through their list here. Cthulhu D20, sure. Mass Effect D20. So they've got a whole bunch of tabletop live plays, and they just started one for Secret World. Now, obviously, this is not going to be like, you know, the sort of quality that you'll see from like Dimension 20 or
our little experiment into it.
Critical Role. Right. Ours was great. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I think Matt Mercer would have been very embarrassed to be like associated with ours because we're so good.
Clearly calling their clarity.
I tried getting him.
Is a vowel movement.
What?
I'm reading the chat. Pay attention.
We don't pay attention to chat.
The consonants are catastrophically constant, clearly calm in their clarity.
After all,
the opposite
is a vowel movement.
A vowel movement.
Boop, boop, like boop.
Vowel movement's hilarious. Wait, is it the 0 point birthday?
It is.
Twitter says, but I believe that is just when. What was a podcast that came before us? It was
Beyond the Veil.
Beyond the Veil. I think it's when Beyond the Veil started, or at least not when they started. That's when they created the account or something.
Oh, maybe. I see what you mean. Because it's the same account.
Yeah,
right. Because otherwise,
change the name.
I would say TSW released July 3rd, so it's not like it
is the birth because right because like we were Beyond the Veil. It's not that we weren't.
True.
Right.
We were.
So it's. Now,
I'm just saying it doesn't attach to a date that's like, you know, they could have changed the birth date anytime, and instead it's like, it's not like it's attached specifically to any Secret World date in particular.
Too? I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
or that could actually just be someone's birthday, whoever made the account.
Right?
Happy
yeah.
Birthday.
It could also be right. It could also be Antita's birthday. Wait, no, it's not.
Well, did they make the account or someone else make the account though? That's the real question.
Actually, probably Antita's husband at the time made the account. What are you? Now his name I can't remember.
Convenient. Okay.
It is. But I also do not have his birthday written down, so.
Okay. Convenient. Okay.
But he did. Wait, he did make an outfit. I think about it.
It was the Ballistic Veil.
Yes. Oh, but he didn't put his name attached to it. All right. No, never mind. So yeah, one of the outfits that's in the game.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That was so long ago. That was I
don't think I knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the Ballistic Veil. Maybe he has a name that'll jog your memory on the winner post for that contest. I mean, maybe. That's going to take me a while to find. Maybe I can just do.
Obama
we can
has
just try
all
to
the time in the world for you to find that.
Just gonna type in ballistic veil and see what happens.
You're gonna go on an FBI list.
Viewer and cosmetic sale. What's this one from?
Sam Kobe has the best viewers on your mom.
I knew it.
So I'd point that out there.
Nope, that wasn't. Need real life outfit advice? I'm trying to piece together the ballistic veil outfit. Who did that? Jack. It was not Jack. I mean, if I did see the name, it would probably jog my memory.
Well, I have it on.
Looking good. Looking sharp. But anyway, maybe it's his birthday.
Maybe.
I'm trying to think because, right, Secret World, TSW released July 3rd. Secret World Legends had a head start June 23rd. And apart from the Secret World Legends first anniversary was celebrated on June 20th, that's about all I got.
Oh, wait.
His art signature has a signature?
Is that the exact day? Did you just name the exact day?
Yes, but that's for the first anniversary of Secret World.
Yeah.
Secret World Legends.
I'm just saying. Seems an awfully coincidental. You don't think?
No, not for the first anniversary.
If it's something you could set any time, like, you know what I'm saying?
I feel like why would they change it to
because the game got a reboot and it was the anniversary of it or something? I don't know.
But it was the first anniversary. I mean, like that's maybe as close as we get. Yeah, I see it. It's still it's still not ringing any bells. That looks like IHLE. Nope. June 19th was when characters could be first created on live servers. Press preview. Okay. But it was not a date that I set. I'll put it that way. Yeah, I guess it's the anniversary of the Secret World Legends X account. Xander. That's what it was.
Xander Cruz from Frisky Dingo?
Nope, just Xander. Xander. I believe Xander is what he went by. Maybe it's his birthday. I don't know. Maybe he was just really into the first anniversary of Legends. I don't think he was really that pumped about Legends at all. I think he was like, because there was a lot of people that was on Beyond the Veil at that point that were like almost like hardcore against the game going to Legends.
I know there was a few people that were against the Aegis system.
You know what? Like, I honestly can't remember. But given the amount of access Beyond the Veil had to the dev team, that seems particularly like backwards thinking to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you guys had the streams like with Tilty, like explaining why what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, I don't understand how you could have that access and that level of information and still be like,
and still be salty about it. Yeah.
yeah, you're like, well, it was this or your game gets turned off. Like, what do you
Yeah.
what do you want? What do you expect them to do? What would you want them to do? I'll say on that note, I also am really annoyed when people are like, it's okay to like a specific feature, I guess, better. Like, I don't think the ability wheel is a good example of that, but like,
Mm-hmm.
you could like the way something was in the other game better, but to
Mm-hmm.
say like the quality of life changes are massive in Legends, but also things they did change, like they had years of supporting the old game and got a chance to start over and be like, let's do this a little more correctly and not paint ourselves into a corner. And then to like second guess the developers on that just seems dumb to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like they got to see all their mistakes and go, aha, I can make that better. And then you go, nah, I liked it when it was shittier. And you're like, what?
Basically,
What?
yeah, they looked at the product they had and said, we can't keep going forward with this. We can't. It is not possible. It's possible through the engine. It's not possible through how we've painted
Monetarily
ourselves
speaking,
into a
it was the
corner.
wrong. I mean, they went through like every model possible.
Mm-hmm. And then they were like, it's not working. And here's what we're gonna do. We're going to relaunch the entire game, new feet, this whole thing. We're gonna give it an update, this, that, that is not a small undertaking by any stretch. How many games out there just shutter, just go, nope, we can't do it, and just would shut down. So they were like, nope, we're relaunching. We're gonna have the same, it's basically gonna be the same storyline, but we're gonna start adding to it. We're gonna start, we're gonna move stuff around so it makes more sense. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. I thought it was a great idea, because they were actually looking at the lifespan of the game. They're looking at the health of the game, and that's sort of the point. Secret World was not healthy. It was not healthy. It just wasn't. It was. They just couldn't keep it going. But then they did keep it going. But only with just as it was, just purely as it was.
There's missions. I mean, there's very little actual missions. There's a couple of breadcrumb side missions that are missing.
And I'm thinking maybe like Halloween event missions.
Yeah. The dungeons are there. They may not have it like an elite version, but the dungeon is there. I know because I do like Slaughterhouse like every day on Jimmy. Because it's really fun to run for the patron key. Just because it's not there in like Elite 17 or something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Yeah, not an Elite, right, but that doesn't mean the dungeon didn't come over. It came over. What's funny is doesn't exist for no. Well, no, it's meaningful. In fact, it's more meaningful. What was the stat? 85% of the player base has never set foot in a dungeon. Of the 15% that have, probably most of those only set foot in story mode dungeon. Like, it's meaningful. The story is there. The dungeon is there. You can play it. Like, the stat numbers are crazy. The Secret World is not a dungeon player's game.
But here's the thing, too. A lot of games are like that. Like, that's not just a Secret World thing. That's like an MMO across the board thing. That if you do not put your dungeons into, forced into the story, people usually don't play them.
Well, even if they are in the story, a lot of times they have like a low difficulty level. Those types of players just are, they're like allergic to group content.
Yeah,
like they just won't do it because they don't want to engage other people. So that's specifically why that's specifically why story mode dungeons and legends was actually a good idea, because they're called story mode, and B, they don't require the trifecta. The whole point is, hey guys, there's story in these, and if dungeons aren't your thing, that's cool, but you don't need a tank and a DPS and a healer. You can just kind of go with a couple of friends and just face roll through it just to experience the lore and the story. Because
it's a very old school concept to basically force dungeons on players, like force that group content, such that even like Final Fantasy 14 switched around where now you can bring in. You don't have to group up with actual people. You can still go through the dungeon. The dungeons are part of the main story, but you can now bring in like a team of all bots, basically, and you could just run it like.
So, just for that chat question, they didn't cut them out. They brought them over. The reason they didn't put the extra effort into doing it, to making them endgame, is because they have to be recoded. All the dungeons we have now are not a copy paste from TSW.
No.
They were all recoded. Like, they work vastly differently. Some of them are a little more obvious than others. Some of them are less obvious. But, like, they were all redone. So to do elite mechanics, like anything above just the boss is there and smacks at you and you punch it, like to do the actual all that shit has to be redone. And it's not cost effective to do that
if no one's going to run it.
The player base isn't using it. Now, if the game had gone differently,
and I don't mean nobody, but it's like a relative nobody. It's like,
if they relaunched and they had shut down TSW, if they just said, TSW was version 1, it's being updated to 2, 1 is no longer available, then people would have either went to Legends or left, period. There would have been no in between. And then, if there was the support for it, they would have eventually put out the dungeons. Much like in the original game, I forget what issue it was exactly, like 12 or something, was like the manufactured dungeon issue, right, of the DLC. They would have eventually done that content. But A, there wasn't demand, and B, they kind of fucked up and split their player base.
Yeah. I would say that's also one of our other big gripes. I'm
just saying, like, they did. And people will say, like, oh well, they wouldn't have come play this anyways. Great, then they'd be gone and not dragging people back to the old game. It was a massive misstep to attempt to relaunch your game and leave an old version sitting around. Like, successful games don't do that. Even unsuccessful games don't do that.
Now, if it was like completely different content, if it was like, oh, this is Secret World, and then that was like Secret World 2, basically, you know?
Yeah, if it was a sequel, but what happened is you basically got a version upgrade, right? Like you went from like iPhone 8 to 9, and they're like, nah, but you can keep the 8. Like, no.
It's also Funcom has a reputation of, we're sunsetting a game, but we're not closing it down permanently.
They leave a game running, but that's a game that is like, there is not like another Anarchy Online. There's not another Age of Conan.
But I'm just saying that Funcom has a reputation of not technically closing down or shutting down games.
Right, but I'm saying that's where someone fucked up. Is they're like, oh, well, we shouldn't shut it down, but you're not. You upgraded. It's the same.
But
game.
I can see the headlines though. It's like Funcom shuts down Secret World Legends.
I don't care about their made up headlines.
I was gonna say sure, but like the headline only lasts for a little while and people get over it.
We talked about this a little before we went live. The reality is that like tons of people liked how Fusang was before the Fusang revamp in TSW, right? And then Fusang got completely revamped. The currency got changed, the mechanics got changed, like the event with the boxes got changed. I'm sure there is people that played of the small percentage that did PvP, which is a minority of the population. They're just really vocal. Would have, like, if they could have had the old Fusang, they would have been, fuck yeah, I'll be on the old Fusang server. And other people would have went new Fusang server, and they would have split their small PvP player base into two, and it would have been fucking stupid. They didn't do that. They said, we're revamping Fusang. This is what it is now. They should have done that with TSW Legends. It should have just been, this is the way, and if you don't come with it, you like leave the game. But letting it split and fester and both sides pull from each other, right? Like people, like Legends is trying to pull people from the old game. There's new content in Legends. People from the old game are like, oh, we like this system better. Hey, come try the old system. It's good crack. Come over here. And they're like, they try and claw people back from the Legends.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, it's dumb. It's super dumb. It's a bad decision.
And we're not even saying that we don't like, TSW. I mean, part of the reason why we love Secret World in the first place is because we loved TSW. Yeah, so
I rocked babies in TSW while raiding. I fucking love TSW. But
yeah, it's like we're all giant TSW fans. We all love TSW.
It was a disservice to the IP. Like they just needed to take a direction. We're going this direction. Everyone's coming along, or you're not. And by splitting that, they literally shot themselves in the foot. It just did. And even if they did that, maybe it still wouldn't have done gangbusters because it's a niche game. And unfortunately, what I've found watching people try this game on stream and seeing other streamers try and stuff like that, what I found, honestly, is even with the revamp into Legends and free-to-play and as the quality of life updates, it's still too demanding for a lot of people. Like you have to read too much. Like
I gotta read all this. Like, yeah,
the barrier.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
The barrier to entry of like to actually enjoy the game, like it's just not gonna be like a Fortnite. It's never gonna be huge.
Nope.
It was never going to be huge, but it could have had a more solidified base if they had just said, "This is 2.0. This is what it is. Come with it," or it was, "Thanks for sticking with us while you did."
But I've been saying also, part of the news that came out recently also was that the game that I think is the biggest example of keeping story behind dungeon content, behind group content, World of Warcraft. That was their whole thing, is that basically you'd get up to a certain point and then the story would not necessarily be in the dungeons. You didn't have to do like some of the leveling dungeons, but you would have to do the raids. They would put the end of their storyline. They'd be like, oh, we have this whole storyline for this new expansion for these others. And then the end of the story is all in the raids. But the raids were simply greatly not accessible to a lot of people. It was, I remember specifically, like, I wanted to see the end of Wrath of the Lich King. This is not my own story, but I want to see the end of Wrath of the Lich King. And at the time, it was like, okay, so you have to join a raiding guild. And I was like, okay, so let me check out a couple of raiding guilds. And they were like, okay, you want to join in? You have to do the, you have to give us a application to join. They all needed like one application to join. So you had to give an application. And then they were like, okay, and if you're accepted, we'll put you in on a trial basis. And so you have to run older content with us on like Thursday nights, Friday nights, and Saturday nights. Without missing any nights before we'll let you join in on the bigger stuff. And they all did this. And at the time I was like, you want my Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights for like 6 hours? Like, are you kidding me? So
it turns into another job.
And I was like, no. And it's like, I guess I won't see the story then. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that even WoW recently has now changed it so you could go in to do a like story mode solo of the raid content, so you could at least see the story. So even they have changed. Even they have turned around and said, we want people to see this content. They're like, we at least want people to see it, so they can get story.
Because at some point, by the way, the only reason that happened is it hit their pocketbook. They're like, oh, shit ain't selling. The vocal minority is just not doing it because they can't, so they just don't buy it anymore. And they went, oh, whoops. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I'll say, but you can now, Vommer.
I will say though, I think that I do also think that the activity finder was a misstep for the game, even back in TSW. It got added towards the end of TSW, but I think it was a miss. I think that was a miss. I don't think it fits the way the game works. Again, the game is too demanding. So if someone's not willing to talk to you before entering a dungeon group with you, then you shouldn't group together. The activity finder just lets everyone like randomly queue into each other, and then someone doesn't talk, and then you can't accomplish the dungeons without actually communicating. It doesn't work that way in this game. So you just get people that like rage quit, right? Either someone's just being a tool, just doing whatever they want and not talking to the group, and they eventually leave, or everyone else leaves because of the tool. But either way, it worked way better when the activity finder was not a thing, and you just had to talk to people to get into a group to go into the dungeon, because by that point you've established communication.
Yeah, right? You've established some sort of rapport, sure.
Versus if you can queue in without talking to people, you then can just are more apt to stay not talking to people. Right? Like, oh, the game just let me into this group. You are supposed to carry me. That's what the game is telling me. Right? I queued into this role. You do your job, and I'll do what I think is mine by standing in this fire while I shoot at this boss.
Right? Like, I will attempt to do mine.
Or completely ignoring the mechanic, or running, or using taunts when I'm not supposed to. But the other problem is that the story mode queue finder is level locked, and I said there was problems with that back in the closed beta. I was like, that was never going to work. That was a huge problem.
So there are single player missions still missing. Yes. The big one that comes to my mind is the one that's attached to the park. You know, we don't have that one.
Wait, which one attached to the park are we missing?
The Seven Silences.
Oh no, that's okay. We're missing a holiday event. That's not the same.
That's a holiday event, right? That's a Halloween thing.
A warehouse in New York. Do you mean the Ox weapon mission that we didn't get because it's an Ox weapon we don't have? I think that's what you're referring to. Yeah, the Ox weapon mission. Or I think one's a prereq to the other one.
Do you mean the one where you got the chainsaw?
Yeah, well,
Aldini's investigation, yes.
Yeah, he has two, and one of them gives you the chainsaw, and one of them, I don't remember if the one was a prereq to the other or not.
But I'm saying, yeah, there's a couple. There's a couple that aren't there.
Understand, like what you're saying isn't. I mean,
we're not disagreeing with it.
Well, I am disagreeing with it. The devs had the tools, designs, and outlines to import all of the content and missions to Middle.
Oh no, you're right. They did not actually have. No, they didn't have that.
That is incorrect. You're just wrong. You're just wrong on that.
We've discussed that with the developers, and they basically have said there was some stuff they imported basically as much as they could, but there was actually some stuff that they could not import.
Well, plenty of it has to be rewritten. Like like even if you have like say the base, like I don't know, like the baked map or something, like the actual mission has to be rewritten completely. Just because you know on a surface level what it's supposed to do and what the tiers are, does not mean that you can just copy the code of how it worked. No, they could not. Understand, this is not to say that they couldn't remake it, but understand they have to remake it. It's not like It's not like they can just like that is their job. Well, no. Their job is not to their job is to do their job that they're employed to do, which was they needed to either the game is over or you can reboot in this new model and revamp everything, and you have a timeline and you need to get new content out, so you need to pick. You've got to make choices.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the manufacturing dungeons were originally on the plan, and they just didn't fit the timeline, and it was manufacturing dungeons or New Dawn. Dungeons that 15% of your player base is going to do and 85% are not, or new content, the whole fucking reason you restarted the game in the first place. So
and I could almost guarantee that if Secret World had stayed Funcom's biggest property, like if Secret World had stayed their moneymaker, if that was like this is basically the game that basically held the company afloat, they absolutely would have put that effort into
we haven't had new content. We literally got New Dawn. It's not Congo, but we got New Dawn. We got new content.
Well, I think a lot of people are not putting in the context of, if you look at Funcom as a business and as Secret World as a game that is 10 plus years old now, the return on investment has already been paid off. And then if they put into more resources, you have to think about making new content is not cheap. It's not like $20 or have Andy say, Andy, write up a blog post or something like that. It requires a lot of developer time and resources to do this new content that takes months or maybe even up to a full year before it actually gets released to the public. For free, they don't really get any kind of payback on it. They're spending money and not getting any return on it. If that's what I'm saying.
Well, again, they were losing money in TSW. That was the point, right? The DLCs didn't make the money it cost to make them.
Right, and that's why we don't have the DLCs or the issues anymore, because I think Joel says, like, what was the last one with the, I think it was like the last one, the Aldini one. So it was $20. No one bought it. Yeah,
it's basically the downward spiral of people being like, well,
part of that was a marketing issue. They called them side stories, and that was a marketing mistake.
Yes,
they called them side stories, and what that implied to people was this isn't part of the main story. I can safely ignore it and not buy it. Right? That was a misstep in naming. I think he acknowledged that on one of the things is like they should not have called it side stories. That was a mistake. Which is so that again, I think a lot of their missteps have been not so much development missteps as marketing missteps.
Oh, their marketing has always been a little atrocious. Only recently has it started to get a lot better.
But that is like top down, like that was a problem that Joel had to deal with. It was a problem Tilty had to deal with. It's like from above, they're told you have to do X. And that was one of the reasons, like, if you remember like when Tilty like left, right? Because he was under Bylos, so he got to be game designer, while Bylos was like director. And so he got to, I'm going to do all this cool stuff. And Bylos is like, yeah, but we can't, because the suit man told me I have to tell you no to this thing, right? So Bylos was in that middle position. And then when he got out of that, Tilty went up to there and then started hating his life. Like, I think that was one of the last interviews with Beyond the Veil, was that he didn't like being in a position to basically have to, like, to not be the creative guy now, but be the guy having to say no to all stuff he wanted to do, because he has the money guy like right above him and telling him you have
telling him no, this is what you can do, this is what you can't do.
You only got a couple $1,000s to deal with per quarter. You're cutting something.
What I'm saying was, you literally can't work on that. You're not allowed.
But it was, it has been a while since we had new content, but the last new content I can think of was 2020? trying to think if there was anything after 2020.
Rebalance? The rebalance was the last thing we got that had the penthouse. That was
that was September of 2020.
But you also got to think of it. This is an old game. It's not making any revenue. So Funcom is saying, yeah.
We also had 2020 had the Valentine's.
We'll keep the servers going, and you guys can keep playing this game because that's what we do. But we're focusing on more profitable stuff because as a business, that's what we have to focus on is making a profit.
The problem I have with this, like, it should only be counted as a start, is like this expectation of like that this thing is deserved. It's not. The game has to be profitable and make money, or it does not get content made for it. And no amount of like us loving the game makes that happen, right? Like me loving the game doesn't make it profitable. You paid for the original game, great. You got the original game.
You got it, yeah.
And if you have an ongoing subscription, if you're playing it, good. If you're not playing it, then don't pay for the ongoing subscription. But your ongoing subscription does not pay for new content. That pays for the game, for you to have the game to play. The game needs a massive amount of ongoing subscriptions to get to a point where it makes sense to make content for it. At this point, it's just keeping the lights on.
I can tell you also, you could also have a subscription for Age of Conan. I've been playing a lot of Age of Conan recently. You could also have a subscription for Age of Conan still. They're not making anything new for Age of Conan. You could probably have one for Anarchy Online still, too. You know, they're not making anything new for Anarchy Online. They'll keep the subscription up because the subscription, it gives benefits. You benefits. It gives you the benefits that they say it does. It's the everything we get, the cooldowns, the keys, the bonus marks, the this, the that, the daily key. I love the daily
like
key.
Maybe in 2030 Legends will get a patch, just like AO Online got a patch or something, like 20 years into its development. They do like to come back every once in a while and throw everyone that's stuck around a bone. It does happen.
They do. Mm-hmm.
They've done it in multiple games in the past, so it's certainly possible. If you're having a day in the right part of the world and the stars in your favor, you can sub in TSW too.
You can sub in TSW too, yeah, sure.
I don't think it's supposed to. I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to let you resub. I know, like, your lifetime still continues there if you have it.
It's one of those things, like, if you want to give money to them, they will let you give money to them.
I thought though, like they sort of did stop that. Like they're not selling the game anymore, right? Like
you can't purchase new copies of the game.
Yeah, you can't purchase new keys to TSW.
Yeah.
That's why occasionally it's news when like a bunch are found or something like that. Like, oh, I've got like 20 keys to TSW, and it's like, where did you get those?
Technically, I have one. I have, like, Kalani sent me a sealed copy of TSW.
Like, I wonder how much you can get for that. You can probably sell that for a pretty penny right now.
I'm not gonna open it. It's sealed.
Yeah,
collector's item. It's literally a collector's item, but technically there's a key in there.
I would say, but if you're thinking about like also older games at the time, like one of my specialties, or the specialty that I think I've got anyway, is that I have a broad knowledge of just the MMO landscape. You know, to be like, I mean, we're even going to talk about the Dune Awakening Direct 2.0 that they had to, you know, whatever that they had today, and I could tell you, like, I got vibes of how many different MMOs that they're basically throwing together to make that game. And I've seen parts where they were like, oh, they created like an overland map. I'm like, an overland map? Like an overland map?
I like it. That was a good look.
like what? You guys are making an overland map? Shroud of the Avatar had an overland map. That was one of the last MMOs that basically had this overland map in the same context, where you could basically go from zone to zone by basically traversing on this overland map. And they just sort of throw it in like, oh yeah, you're going to be able to go from this place to that place by basically in an ornithopter by just going over the overland map. and you can control your character on the overlay map. I'm like, that's Shroud of the Avatar. Shroud of the Avatar is also a game that's not doing great right now, but they have their own issues. Worth it. Their issues are not great, but it's not a great product. It's not being run well. But same, it's sort of like, okay, they took it from that, and they're like, oh, and then we're gonna have the deep desert. That's gonna be a PvP area, and that's where you can get all the crafting materials, like just like Albion Online. That's pretty much Albion Online's things. Albion Online is a game that is surprisingly popular. They're one of those ones that always have like almost like 900,000 monthly active users, something like that. Like ridiculous amount of monthly users.
Which one is that?
And it's like one of the least known games. But it's basically like a PvP area. It's basically like a PvP game. Big on crafting, big on whatever. Not a survival per se, but it's definitely a collect and craft. And then they put all the highest level crafting materials in a PvP zone right in the middle, and they make you basically PvP for the highest crafting materials.
Gotcha.
And I can totally see like that's where they're going with Dune Awakening. Like that's sort of their whole thing. They're gonna have the deep desert, as they call it, will basically be a PvP zone, but that's where all the spice is mined. Like that's where that's where everything is. That's where all the real action is going to be taking place. Is basically in the giant PvP zone. So I will take like all these things from multiple games, from multiple studios, from multiple lists, and just put them all together and see like, you know, because nothing is ever original. You know, that's saying like nothing's original. Everything comes from something. Everything has a base where something inspired someone else to do something, and following that chain sometimes leads to fun places. But this is where the point I was trying to make. But what I've found over time is that if a studio only has like one game, they will still be making content for that one game years later. I'm guessing like almost like EverQuest. Like, you know, they're still pumping content for EverQuest. They're still pumping out like expansions for EverQuest.
That's ridiculous.
But EverQuest is one of their biggest money makers, you know? Lord of the Rings Online, great game. I love Lotro. Lotro is a great game. It's very faithful to the Tolkien books. The game is simultaneously cozy and then also extremely violent and whatever. It is a great property. I love the game a lot. It's beautiful too. They've got one of the best skyboxes. But between Dungeons and Dragons Online and Lord of the Rings Online, those are their only two games that they have. So of course they're going to keep pumping, you know, stuff in them. Of course they're going to keep pumping content and expansions and this and that. They're going to keep going because those are their two games. They're the only games that they have. Funcom has Anarchy Online, Age of Conan, Secret World Legends, Conan Exiles, and now they've put a megaton of money into Dune Awakening. So right now, their eggs are totally in other baskets.
They have a couple other ones too, right? Technically,
I mean, there might be even a couple that I'm missing there too. Yeah, but Conan Exiles, when they released Conan Exiles, they weren't expecting Conan Exiles to be as popular as it was. I don't think they really were.
Hoping. They were goddamn hoping, but
of course they were hoping, yeah. But Conan Exiles exploded, and they were like, "What?" Like I think they were planning on basically to spend a whole bunch on Secret World, and then all of a sudden Conan Exiles exploded, and they were like,
"What?
We have to shift our teams over to make content for the game that will make us money."
I think they were pivoting to Conan, honestly, anyways. Like I said, the Secret World conversation was, well, you guys can attempt a relaunch with a different monetization model because this one is not working.
That one was not working, yeah.
Shutter the game. Like that was literally the kamikaze. You're not entitled. You are entitled to what you have. Your idea that you're entitled to a specific full product doesn't not make any sense.
Yeah, when it comes to games,
Legends,
not really.
When you subscribe to TSW, you were subscribing to that content. When you subscribe to Legends, you subscribe to Legends content. It shows you liked something that was in TSW that did not get remade for Legends. Doesn't mean you're entitled to that thing. That's not how that works.
And because this is I put money into a game called Rusty Hearts ages ago. This game was produced called Rusty Hearts. It was one of the first like action MMOs, and it used a very simple compared to today's games, like dungeon style. It's basically like a dungeon shoot 'em up. Basically, it's like a dungeon brawler, and it was fun. I put some money into that. I can't play it now. It's an online game. That's the part of live service. That no, live service changes, the game changes, everything changes about it. So if you put in money, that money will go towards hopefully the game, but not even really the game. It'll just go to the company, and then the company will then put how that money is spent. So it's one of those as much as I want to say yes, not really. Like I even have a lifetime subscription to Star Trek Online. Star Trek Online is not doing great right now. They're in a weird territory where they've been the company has been bought over by another group and now is under a hedge fund sort of situation. It's not great. But but I paid 10 years ago. I paid a lifetime subscription to that game. More than 10 years. Maybe 14 years ago, I paid a subscription to that game. At $300, I paid for a lifetime subscription. And to say that it owes me anything at this point, it doesn't. I have gotten 14 years worth of content out of it,
Well, even when you're paying a monthly, you're paying a monthly for you playing the game.
Just access,
with whatever benefits it says it gives you. Mm-hmm. One of the benefits doesn't say you will get X content. That's not how that works.
No, what you're paying for, especially here, is you're paying for the dungeon key, the whatever key, the 10% bonus experience. You're paying for this is what you're paying for. The free daily cash key, I think, is a great thing. Oh my gosh, I would love if other games gave me a free cash key every day, give me a free lockbox key every day. 20% bonus marks of favor, unlimited free animal leaps and teleports. That is basically what you are paying for.
By the way, I just to be clear, I'm not saying I don't want everything that was ever over there over here, right?
Oh yeah,
that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it's not okay to want that to happen. I was fucking ecstatic when we got Penthouse. Right?
We would love it.
When I got to help test Penthouse on the beta one, which I will say the only thing I'm a little upset about is they got rid of the colors. I feel like they could have kept the colors. Even though it doesn't signify ages, it would have helped signify range. When you tell someone stand in the middle circle, the outer circle, if it still had the colors, I think that still would have been helpful. But I got voted down on that one. You know what I mean? And they're like, nah, it's not ages. So the colors would be I think they thought it might be confusing. People would think it's ages or something. But I genuinely think the colors would have helped.
If you actually look close at the picture I added to our going live post on X on our Discord, you'll see that it's basically it's old TSW, but I just loved the way that Aegis looked on my the purple Aegis, the psychic Aegis.
Yeah,
I just love the way that looked in Tokyo. Such a great screenshot. So speaking of the colored Aegis,
what I mean. Your opinion is your opinion, but my issue is when people say that I'm paying so I'm entitled to them to make X. That's not that. Just, to me, you're doing yourself a disservice because you're misunderstanding what you're paying for, what that entitles you to. But also we got a whole bunch of stuff. We have a Kaiden lair that didn't exist. We've got Dark Agartha, which is fucking amazing. We've got Occult Defense. As far as like, we have Rosenbrawl, which I think is vastly undervalued.
Rosenbrawl, the Valentine's Mission.
We have, like, event wise, we have a whole bunch of new events. Like we also have content that doesn't fucking kill your machine. I have encounters I get to do that I get to do at not 2 FPS. Like, we have E17. we have Nightmare Plus mechanics. We have additional layers of difficulty on the dungeons we do have. Like, we have a lot. We have a lot of really cool stuff. Do we have everything? No.
Let's say Tank Commander. That's new.
Yeah, we have Tank Commander. That shit's awesome. I love Tank Commander, honestly. I realize I'm, like, you know, in a small group with that one, but I like it.
It's like, yeah, there's going to be stuff that didn't make it over from TSW into SWL, but there's also a lot of new stuff that we have that is not going to make it back to TSW.
Like,
it goes both ways. And yeah, I paid for...
Here's the thing. Here is the thing, though. If the game was successful, if Legends relaunch was successful, we would have already gotten manufacturing.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
The money is not there. You're putting money in, but that's keeping the lights on money. You think it means effort should be put in. That is where you are incorrect.
It's basically server money has to
reach a certain point before that is cost effective to do. You cannot just say, well, I gave you $10. Where's my dungeon? That only happens once a certain threshold has reached. No, I don't think they're putting any effort into it at all right now, Bomber. Dune is all encompassing at the moment. That's an
Dune is all their eggs.
And by the way, that's not unusual, and that's even happened with other games. Even with other games that they weren't. Mutant Year Zero was not like a their game, right? Technically, Moons of Madness was not a their game, but they had developers of their staff helping those guys push those games out the door as part of their publishing service. And because like Moons was kind of tied into Secret World IP, they were a little more hands-on with that one. And that was actually sucking, if I remember right, that was even sucking people from Exiles at the time to like help get that pushed out the door. Like to help those guys like finish it and launch it correctly on time. So
because they'd been publishing it, or they had been advertising it. So yeah, better get out the door.
Whatever is like the big push is going to suck up resources. Whichever thing has the most demanding timeline is going to inevitably suck in people from other spots. Just because there's deadlines and shit has to get done. So you rob from Peter to pay Paul kind of thing. But
I do just want to point out, in the end, it does all come down to buyer beware. You know, like understand that just because they're accepting money doesn't mean that you have to give it to them, and understand that your money is not going to necessarily go to the content. You have to look at basically what it's going to, and it's going to go to those patron benefits. You know,
even if it did, like let's just say it did. There's no guarantee it's going to go to content that you want, right?
Right.
There's really vocal PvP players, but again, massive minority of the player base. So the game would have to have been a monumental Smash relaunch for PvP to get fucking anything. Because out the gate, they were like, actually, we fucked up. No one does PvP. No one really does PvP in our game percentage-wise. No one really does dungeons in our game percentage-wise. We need to focus on the story shit.
And just gaming in general had basically changed PvP. Like, you know, you started to see the rise of a whole bunch of genres of PvP games. People weren't coming to MMOs to PvP anymore.
So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like hopefully people enjoy what they're playing, and if they don't, they should play something else.
You should play what you enjoy, yeah.
I have what? I'm at 16K, probably getting close to 17K hours in between the Secret Worlds, and I play other shit. Right? Like I play other games. Like
you were just saying that. Elden Ring just released a DLC today.
I will be playing that tomorrow.
Yeah, and if we didn't have a show tonight, Jimmy would be playing that right now.
Yeah, If we didn't have a show tonight, I would be streaming that shit right now. That's what I would be doing. Instead, I'll be streaming it tomorrow.
So, I mean, what we're saying is basically, we get it. We get it. We've basically had that thought 1,000 times over, you know.
I mean, maybe not a specific one, but close.
Yeah, maybe not. But we've basically had that thought, like, you know, over is that, yeah, we wish it was more than what it currently is. You know, we wish they would basically be like, hey, you know what? We should just go back to Secret World and
you know what the weirder one is to me?
What's that?
Because like I get wanting more content, or you're throwing money at a game, and when you realize that like the money you're throwing at it just isn't going to change the situation, that's kind of disheartening. Like I get that.
Right.
The one thing I don't get is people that go like, yeah, but there's no end to the story. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? What MMO have you ever played that has an end? What are you on? Like,
yeah, they don't have ends.
I've seen recently like half a dozen times, and I don't understand that take like at all. They're like, yeah, it's really cool, but there's no real end to the story. Even though they're not doing much content for it or updates for it recently, there's no end to the story. And I'm like, what fucking game like this is there an end to the story? What are you talking about? Everyone wants a next chapter, but I actually think it's bookended pretty nice. Like, we ended at New Dawn, and unlike our last bookend, which was, we don't know where we're going, ha ha ha, maybe somewhere else. Like, it ended with, this is the thing, this is where things are gonna go, this is, you know, right? Like, you set up for a sequel, essentially. Like, whereas the prior end that we had before New Dawn was literally like a fucking giant question mark. And they had a lot of fun teasing us about where we might go next. Right? Fuck, Tron made like a 4-month, 5-month countdown to where
Tampa,
the new storyline was gonna take place, and like every day crossed off another like city that it wasn't gonna be in or something on a map. It was that fucking countdown was ridiculous.
That was awesome.
It was like, oh, it's not gonna be Tampa, Florida. We're not going there. Right?
It's Tampa. So, like, yeah, I remember the day they crossed off Tampa. People were pissed.
Wow. That was hilarious. I love that there's a nod to that in the loading screen.
Oh, gotta love it. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things.
But here's the thing too. Like, yeah, like, okay, so basically we ended at whatever, we took out Barahun. Spoilers. We took out Barahun, finished out the story to, you know, you really got into the Markard, New Dawn, all that stuff. Yeah, took out basically one of the Secret World's top 5 guys, you know, that they were looking for, and basically, yeah, put a nice cap on that part anyway, and said, yes, we're going to the Congo next.
Yeah. So to me, like,
but there are movies all the time that end and they say, oh, here's a teaser for the next thing. My wish, and more than anything else, I don't really think at this point that I want them to keep creating content for Secret World Legends anymore. I want to see Secret World Legends 2. That's what I want to see. I want to see them basically...
I just want to see more in the IP, even if it's like Moons of Madness or
right.
something of that vein. I just want to see the IP being used.
They've done Moons of Madness, but what if they make a game that's basically Secret World related in the Congo? You know?
Tokyo is the better ending? No, I vastly disagree with that. I'm sorry. I mean, I will say that is subjective.
Tokyo is pretty good. Yeah.
That is very subjective.
Yeah.
But I don't agree with that. And to me, it's not Chapter 2. If anything, it's the interlude. South Africa is the interlude. And I think they might have actually even said that South Africa is intended to be the interlude. So, like... Tokyo... So, Secret World is is the movie, right? And then South Africa is like the post credit scene, and then Congo should happen, right?
Right. Yeah.
And by the way, I'm not joking. I'm pretty sure Tilty, I'm pretty sure someone official basically said South Africa is the interlude. It's not chapter 1. Congo is going to be its own entity. This was like the teaser, the lead-in between Tokyo and Congo.
Don't be dissing SWO's future on the eve of its anniversary. Listen, we do have to be realistic. You know, we love it. We love this property. We love it. We want to see it succeed as much as anybody, but yeah, we have to have more people in here. We have to have a lot more people. We have to have a lot more people with interest. We have a lot more people playing. We have to have a lot more people, whatever, you know.
Well, my interest isn't specifically Legends, right? Like that's why I think people get tied up. Like, oh, I'm a hardcore TSW. Legends can fuck off, or I'm Legends and TSW can fuck off. Although I'm more in that vein. But it's more like I like the IP.
The IP,
I like
yeah.
Hidden Streak. I like
it's the IP.
Park. I like Moons of Madness. Like I want the IP. I want anything fucking made in this world. I want more of this writing. I'm here for the storyline of the world, like the writing. That's what I'm here for. Now you can be here for something else, and that's fine. But that's to me, that's what's important is that the world lives on in a fashion, not the specific iteration of the game. So, like, if Legends shut down tomorrow, but, like, you know, Christmas we got some fucking Secret World IP Battle Royale or Secret World IP fucking...
I would hate them. I would hate them for that, but I'd play it.
Or a Secret World Legend, or like a Secret World IP fucking survival game, because they like to do survival games, right? Secret World survival game where I'm like crafting in the sewers of New York as a Lumi, like killing rats and skinning them to make my rat hide coat, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I would fucking play that shit because hopefully Scrib's still writing for it and I can read some awesome lore. Like, that's what I like. It doesn't have to be this iteration of the game.
Yeah. That's sort of where I fall too.
By the way, if they do make a new Secret World and they leave this shit running, I would say the same thing. I'd be like, kill it. Just like I'm saying kill TSW, I'd be like, kill it. Stop fucking fracturing your player base, you morons. If you want your game to succeed, you need everyone to just be along for the ride or not. Stop giving everyone the option to not play your game. Because I think that was a massive misstep in the relaunch. I'll if they were to do it again, I'd be like, yes, kill the old one, kill it with fire.
Right, Secret World 3.0.
I have no allegiance to the version of the game other than the latest incarnation with the latest writing. Like that's what I want.
Mm-hmm. Like that's why I would love to see post Dune, because obviously Dune's gonna last a while. But post Dune,
I'm gonna try Dune actually for sure.
I mean, Dune looks good. It looks good.
It really does look good, and Scriv is writing for it.
And Scriv's writing for it, and yeah, no, Dune looks excellent.
I'm gonna speaking of which. Because realistically, that's why I play the game. Is the urban fantasy is definitely a draw, but it's so hard to find good writing in games. Like it's ridiculously hard to find good writing in games.
Let's support SWO and its community.
Just because I'm saying burn SWO fire does not mean what you think it means. It just means that I would set the game on fire if the IP got better life. You know, that's all. I'm just saying I would take that puppy out to the gravel pit and shoot it. If it meant I would get a new puppy.
That's a terrible metaphor. That did not go well.
I think it sounded better in your head.
No, probably not.
That was a political reference. If anyone got that one,
I got it. No, I got it.
I thought it was funny.
But we would hopefully want to take the community with us. You know, of course we support the community. We support the community hardcore. We love what the community does. Jimmy, I am concerned.
I'm just saying, I'd put that thing down so fast if I got a new Secret World puppy.
But I mean, you know, you said I didn't care about the IP. I wouldn't be so adamant about seeing it improve, right? But you don't do that by basically yelling at the devs. You don't do that by berating them to other people. You know, you don't do that by disparaging them. And I've always said, part of the reason why we have this cast, part of the reason why we have this show, that we keep going, is because we want to see the game succeed. And we want to see the game succeed by showing them that there is interest still in the game out there. There's a lot of interest. We just are the tip of it. We're just the, you know, we're the vocal group out here.
Just
you know?
Just the tip.
Just the tip.
Just let us in. Just let us in. We're just a tip. I promise. We're just a tip.
Criticism is necessary, but only when it's constructive. Otherwise, it's just insulting. Otherwise, it's just disparaging. Like, listen, I know. I'm a Philadelphia sports fan. I know. I spent like the 80s and 90s basically just being disappointed year after year. We learned here in Philadelphia very, very much so to support our teams even when they suck.
All that money you put into those games, what did you get? Nothing.
No, but you have Gritty, don't you? We love Gritty. At first, I hated Gritty. At first, I was like, what the hell is that thing? And then it was like a week later, I was like, nope, he's awesome. He's ours. We love him.
Well, that's not... So, I think... So, some of that seems like you have a misunderstanding of why it hasn't been imported. Right? Mm-hmm. Which is to say that, like, the reason why is money. So, if the game was profitable, it would already be in here. Right? If it was profitable to do so, it would have happened.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't happen, which means the revenue coming in doesn't justify it happening.
And so you could say, well, how do we make it profitable? Honestly, how do you tell a company, hey, be profitable?
Even the last rebalance patch with the nightmare mechanics, that was, from my understanding, essentially like a more or less a side project on the way out the door. Someone put a lot of personal time into that was like a pet project of the game director at the time to try and make that happen with, you know, essentially like no backing or monetary support. So the issue is the game just doesn't bring in the revenue to justify any kind of content creation. It justifies keeping the game running, justifies keeping the lights on, justifies keeping the events, you know, still happening, but it doesn't constitute enough to generate content, even old content being repurposed, which again takes a lot more man hours than a lot of people seem to think. It's just not going to happen. Not only that specific content would have to be approved because they think that that the money coming in, like, people will like that content, right? So, like, if you have a bunch of players playing, but they're not playing dungeons, they're not going to port the old dungeons because it doesn't make sense, right? If you saw a massive influx of players, but all these people are playing the story content and never touching the dungeon, they're going to make new story next, not dungeons. Now, if all of a sudden Legends got like a massive influx of players and they're all doing dungeons every day, they might look at that and go like, huh, okay, we should put out some more dungeons. You know what I'm saying? But like that's how that works.
Mm.
That how that works is not just, it's people voting with their wallet, but also with their time. Like they track those stats. They pay attention to that. Unfortunately, that's one of the reasons we didn't get an investigation mission in South Africa, because there was supposed to be one. But guess what? In Legends, got played even less than it did in TSW, and it already was a small percentage in TSW. Investigation missions, which are like a hallmark of Secret World as a thing, right? We all
one of the primary reasons I got so deep into Secret World in the first place.
Investigations are, but in a free-to-play game where you're trying to expand your player base and be less niche, investigations just fucking like that shit fell off a cliff. They literally just didn't make one for South Africa because there was no return on investment for that. There was like none. It would have been like, if they had done it, it would have been throwing away money as like a love letter to the people from the old game that still played it, assuming they were even in here playing it. So they probably were still in the old game because they never fucking shut the old one off. But you know what I'm saying? Like, they literally didn't make the investigation mission because it wasn't worth the revenue to do it.
Players blow through it all in hours when it takes the longest time to develop. We love story. I mean, including all the voice acting. Are you kidding me? Yeah. All that voice acting?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's unfortunate. That's just an unfortunate reality. Is that it's hard. It's hard to. You cannot produce story content for the amount of money.
Nope.
Like it's a real catch-22 system. I know Uni, but again, like I'm with you. If we could have Flappy and Eidolon in here, that'd be great. Or honestly though, I would take a new one. Like we've done Eidolon and Flappy like 5 billion times. I wouldn't mind a new
raid. Yeah.
The thing is, like that's like a sub-segment of the dungeon people. So you've got the majority of the player base doesn't even touch dungeons, and those people that do dungeons, only percentage of those like probably raid, right? I guess it's probably a higher percentage. If you do a dungeon already, you're probably likely to group content and raid, but still, there's people that do dungeons that were not really raiders, even in TSW. So there's got to be a percentage shift there that's just hard to see.
I don't care about the player base as a whole. I care about the people.
Yeah, but see, that's
I care about me. I care about what I want to play. I really care about my content.
People are the same way though. They're like, yeah. I just want my PvP, and then my people will come play with me. But those people don't fucking spend money on the game.
Yeah, no. See, here's the thing: is I understand that fully because you know what I like in games, not raids, not dungeons. I'm one of those people that's basically anti-dungeons. I'm anti-dungeons.
He's right there. Get him, guys. Yeah. Get him. He's right there.
I'm anti-dungeons. I'm anti-raids. I will not run dungeons in games. I will not run raids. I will not do PvP. I play solo content that I can play, and there's a ton of it. There's a ton of it here. I love it all. I'd like to
point out that I have dragged Mikey into dungeons, into raids, and into Rosenbrawl multiple times.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, that's the thing. But that's why I love MMOs. One of the reasons why I love MMOs is that, like, it's still there. Like, it's still, like, I love the fact that it exists, but it's not story for me. It's not content for me. It's not content that I find enjoyable, but in this context, like, yeah, drag us through. It's great. We have a good time. We have a great time. I was going through my screenshots, and one of the screenshots I came across was when they changed the lurker into a giant leet. And they changed the lurker into a giant leet, and there was some guy in our group who was like, this is the first time I'm doing this. What the hell happened? We were like, I love when we have
sorry about that. With new players, and they're just like, I didn't know what the original looked like. And you're like, you've scarred them for life. Like they're gonna go into the next raid and be like, "What's this? Where's the leet? Where's the
what's this like? Isn't this supposed to be a giant leet? Yeah, isn't this
Like no,
so I get that.
Like,
I enjoy the story.
Look, I agree. I like raids. I like the mechanically more demanding like content. But it's the thing is like what's weird. Okay, there's a weird part of it is like the player bases have to both exist to sustain each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
The story people, generally speaking, are ones that here's the thing too. It's a free to play game, so it's a little bit different. Like in the old TW model, the story people were the ones spending money, but not enough because it wasn't covering the cost of the DLCs to make them.
Yeah. But we were the ones buying all the side stories. We were the ones buying all of that. Yeah.
But the PvP people don't have to do that. They can just sit in PvP and not buy those at all. Now, granted, there's people that did both. But also there's a lot that didn't. And what really weirded me out, by the way, I just, as a tangent here, is that I knew some dungeon runners, and I mean like hardcore, they're in a dungeon like every day, all day, and then they didn't buy the dungeon issue. And I was like, what? They made you content. They specifically made you content, and you went, nah, I'm good. I'm going to keep running these dungeons that I've already have. I was just like, you are why this game is dying. You are why right now. You needed a PhD in TSW or anything? Well, nah. If I did shit in TSW, you could have done shit in TSW. You just needed you just needed to know people with PhDs. That's what I did. I just hung out with people that had the PhDs. And I'm not even joking. Oh god, what was his name? Started with an A. Fuck. Something Mind? I can't remember his name right now. Anyways, he wrote like much like Molov, he wrote like engines to like figure out the like most efficient like weapon and talisman passive setups. Like something that would go through like 1,000 revolutions to figure out like what's most effective. The theorycraft like simulator kind of thing. But like he literally had like he was in like university. He was literally like working on his PhD. Like I'm not even joking. Like there was multiple people like that in and around like Lag Spike. There was multiple people that were
because Secret World was so niche. It was so niche. It was basically bringing in people who, it was the investigation missions maybe probably that were like,
I was just saying,
it's all those investigation missions. They were like, oh, I love a good puzzle. They're bringing in
I didn't know that shit. I just hung around the people that knew that shit and was like, oh, okay, cool. And a lot of it does make sense once you're like in it, but like it's TSW has such a learning barrier, 1,000%.
Oh yeah, they even tried to make it easier one time, and they got yelled at.
So like, but it was one of those things that once you see someone show you something, and then you see how that works, and then you tweak it for like your playstyle a little bit, like stuff starts to make sense. Like you do eventually get there. But yeah, especially in the beginning. I mean, I think that's even how I got into streaming was watching Katarina 1. I would watch his streams and he'd be like, "Oh, this is how you like do DPS and animation cancel." And I was like, "Ooh, what's animation cancel? Let me try and do that." Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, TSW was my first MMO. I had no fucking idea what I was doing at all, like zero, and also no frame of reference. It's not like I had played like everything was a brand new concept to me. Like my previous game was like Assassin's Creed or something. Like,
oh, didn't you say you played DCUO?
I played DCUO, but I didn't play it. You're gonna get logged out. I didn't play it like an MMO though. I played it like a single player game. Like I literally would use the cosmetic thing. I'd make my character look a certain way. Like I'd pick the abilities, play through. Up to level 35 was basically the story. It was all like scripted. I'd hit the end of that and I'd just go make a new character. Like I would just like oh, now I'm gonna make one that is like a Green Arrow kind of character. I'm gonna get the bow and I'm gonna play through the story from that perspective. I'm like, yeah, that's all I did. I did not play like an MMO at all. I had no understanding of. Like I never even hit the DPS healer tank trifecta like thing at all. Like I had no.
I mean, but superhero games basically like that's sort of the way they want you to play them. Like, like create your own superhero. You know,
to be fair, that's just because I have goldfish memory. I used to repair my gear all the time. I just fucking straight up forgot how fucking weird that shit was to do.
Also, Uni, thank you for reminding me. I just clicked on the thing and it said that I had gear to repair.
No, but in TSW, you had to go to the vendor. I totally forgot you did it at a vendor.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just straight up, my brain was like, I don't need that info anymore, which is true. I don't. It was like, yeet. Also, that's so dumb. Why would you have to go to a vendor to repair your gear? That's
just because every other game does it that way.
I didn't play any of those games. Again, why does it make sense to me?
Yeah, they looked at other games and went, well, this is what people do in other games. We want them to at least be familiar with it, so they copied a lot of other stuff. And one of them was vendors repair gear.
You know what's sad, Bomber? I think well, at least on Jimmy, I would have had the Reconstructor. I don't know if I had it on my alt. I was on an alt when that happened, I think. So I don't remember if I had a Reconstructor on the alt. Taking their blades to blacksmiths. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense to walk up to the Venice person who has like, selling you drinks and be like, yo, repair my talisman.
The only game I know that basically got rid of that completely where they had that sort of thing was Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2 turned around and changed it. They were like, yeah, we're getting rid of that mechanic. Instead, you can just go to like you go to these anvils that we have throughout the game and you'll actually get a buff instead. You'll get like an armor buff instead of instead of needing to constantly repair your armor. Instead, you can get a 48-hour armor buff.
They're clearly just Red Bull, Mountain Dew, and like green tea. Now, they're not magic potions. They're just Red Bull, Mountain Dew, and green tea. That's all those things are. Everything is Mountain Dew to me.
Everything is Mountain Dew.
I mean,
Code Red.
That it's not. Prove that it's not. You know what's funny? I just popped in my head too. Is like, even though like we don't really have you don't eat tacos for the pen buff like you did in TSW.
Right.
I still have a clip somewhere of in Legends playing through like the start of the game when you make your new character and you're like doing the subway sequence in the very beginning. And Alex eats a taco before the fight. And I was like, motherfucker, he's eating a taco right now. What the hell? Like he straight up eats a taco. And I think it's random because I've started many a new character and I've only seen that happen maybe twice. Once I got a clip, I might have seen it one other time, but it is not consistent. I tell you that. It is not consistent at all.
The NPC just pulls a taco out of their pocket, starts eating.
I have a clip. If you go look at the clip on my Twitch channel, that have a clip of him eating the taco, like right before the gate's gonna come up and you run down like fight the filth. Like he's like they're doing their talking line and he's just he reaches down and goes and like
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Great. But yeah, I don't know. I never fucking understood shit in TSW for like the longest goddamn time. At like an egregious amount of time. I did not understand that talismans with lots of HP wasn't the same as just being strong. I thought HP equaled if I have a giant HP bar, I must be super buff. Not how that works.
I mean,
I made it to Transylvania like that. Fucking most people quit out of TSW like in Blue Mountain at the Cobb. Somehow I was in besieged farmland with pistol blood with like fucking 15k health or some shit, running around spamming heals on myself while I took 5 straight minutes to kill one vampire because my DPS was like 0. But I could do the heals, pistol blood, the heals just enough to keep me alive because I had so much health from the tank stats to shoot the vampire for fucking eternity.
You're like, man, this game is hard.
Like, yeah, I would line of sight. I'm like using trees and rocks and running around, looping shit. Like, I made the game so goddamn hard. Any other normal, sane person would have been, this is dumb, and quit. Which was honestly was TSW's problem.
Yeah, and a lot of people did.
TSW's problem were like, oh, I don't understand how this works. I'm getting like everything's just annihilating me. I'm by it, and people just leave. Whereas I'm just stupid. Like, nope, I'm gonna get there somehow. And I don't even remember when it clicked, or maybe I looked something up online, like a forum or something, and I was like, oh, that's how that works. Okay. Let me get some DPS talismans, and then all of a sudden I'm just like annihilating things. I'm like, oh, okay, this is way better.
This makes a lot more sense now. That's funny.
You got hard carried. I do remember that you could hard carry people because we would get someone would make. I think someone would make a new character, right? Because you had the faction specific stuff, right? So you'd have like your Cabal would have like a Lumi faction and a Dragon faction and a Templar faction with just a little letter at the end, right? So Cabal named -T, -D, -I.
Yeah.
And so some people, especially because of the PvP, would make a new character in the Cabal, but in the other faction. And then you get a couple people to just fucking hard carry them. You could get someone to like the end of getting your wings in like a day or something. Like you can just be like, we're running you through the story. You just escort them out, and as they do the mission, just annihilate everything. Yeah, that was a thing. Of course, you don't look like it's fine if you're doing that with like a second character, because then you're just doing that for speed. But if you do it with a new player, they then have no idea how anything works. It wasn't quite like that.
So before we go any further,
hard enough.
I do want to go over what the other games news that we had. If we wanted to just to go through it real quick, because I mean it does pertain to kind of what we were talking about before. One is Dune. Right, Dune had their second Dune Awakening Direct, took place earlier today. They showed the trailer that they released as part of Summer Games Fest, June 7th. Showed the trailer again and explained a lot more about how the MMO aspect works. And that's why I was saying that, like, he said there's going to be a mega server infrastructure. So you're going to have like servers. You're going to have to be able to sign up onto a server, but it's going to be part of a server infrastructure as part of a mega server. He didn't say the term mega server, but that's sort of colloquially what it's known as. Like, ESO has a mega server. Guild Wars 2 has a mega server. Yeah, and when you log into it, like a thing, there's like when you log into an area, or when you go into a zone, they said that zone's going to have like maybe a top population of like 40, but depending on how many people are going to be in there, it's going to spawn different dimensions. It's going to be like, you have 3 or 4 copies of the same zone, and then you can always switch back and forth to which one your friends are in, and et cetera, et cetera. It's a mega server with separate servers and dimensions, but everyone can still play with each other. You just have to find each other, but you can play with each other. Huge capacity play fields. They said something like the Deep Desert is going to have something almost like 400 players simultaneously.
I do remember that. So we said that, or Joel said that you'll be able to find your friends. It'll tell you where they're at and what instance they are in.
Yeah, and then you can go to that same instance, so you don't have to be in different ones, and it'll probably try to set you up that way anyway. Like it'll be like, oh, your friend is already in this one, we're gonna put you in this one, and then then he was just casually like, oh, and then we're gonna have an overland map, an overland map. So you could leave a zone, and they basically said that it's going to be like traveling in between, like you get in your ornithopter, instead of just flying to a place. Instead, they're like, no, you're going to go into this overland map, and then sort of control the ornithopter to go to the overland, like go over the overland to the other zone, and then it will zoom you into that zone. And I was saying that's exactly like Shroud of the Avatar is. Like, you have an area. You go into like a town, you leave the town, you suddenly go onto like the big world map, and then you just walk along the world map until you get to the next town, and then it zooms you into that town, into that zone. And part of the benefit was for Shroud, and I guess the same benefit here, is that they can just add as many zones as they want. They can be like, oh, instead of connecting all these zones together, they can just be like, that zone's here, this zone is over here, this area is over here, and just put down any zones they feel like. So it's just continually upgradable. They can just keep dropping them down, which is okay. It's all right. It's all right. I just sort of like, wow, like an overland map. What? Okay, all right. But yeah, very customizable to basically add in new areas. They just literally just drop it in there. The storyline of the game, near the end, they showed character creation, and a lot of the hairstyles looked very familiar. But part of that is part of the storyline of the game. They said is going to be a Dune without Paul Atreides, without Muad'Dib, without him. The whole point is that he was never born. It is a separate timeline from the Dune books, from the Dune movies. It's going to be a completely separate timeline. And they sort of hinted at that before this Dune Direct, when the question came up of like, well, how does nuclear explosions work? In the books, they're like, when a laser gun hits a shield, it produces a nuclear explosion. So how is that going to work? And they're like, it's not. They're like, it wasn't fun, so we're not going to do it. Same thing with like sand walking. They're like, we tried it. It was not fun. That's not going to be in there either. They're like going to be like, the laser guns that they have are going to be, you can't even point them at a shield. Like, you try pointing at a shield and it just won't do it. Sort of thing. And it's like, but they decided to do that as sort of like a safety thing, which is then different from the books themselves. So they were kind of hinting that they were going to go to an alternate timeline before, and they just sort of it's going to be an alternate timeline. Paul is never born. Paul's mother decided basically to have a girl, as she was basically instructed by the Bene Gesserit. She was a girl instead. Instead, Jessica is then trained further in military arts. She finds basically the betrayer of whatever house they're a part of. I forget the name right now, but they find the betrayer earlier. Atreides, House Atreides. They find the betrayer earlier. House Atreides is able to defend themselves, and so instead of being annihilated, Atreides is there. The Harkonnens are there. That the Sardaukar are there. Everyone's there. Everyone is their own faction, and they're all there, and everyone is doing their thing. So that's how I explained it. Basically, it's going to be a completely separate timeline, but it still has a story to it. There is still a story to follow through, and that story is basically, what the heck happened to the Fremen? The Fremen do not exist. They were annihilated, or so they're leading us to believe. So that's basically the story. So, I mean, it looks good. I liked the Dune Direct. I watched it. I wasn't checking out new DLCs.
Missing out.
What if you are the missing Fremen? Well, then you maybe know where you are. you would hopefully know where you are.
Oftentimes don't know where I am, so I could still be missing. They call you sleepers? To our faces?
So all we know is that our good neighborhood Scrivenomancer has written some very trippy shit for when you are imbibing the spice. So
looking forward to it. To it.
It sounds like good times. Conan Exiles had an update, and that's why I said this kind of circles back, is that they're putting so much of their eggs into Dune right now that they've even scaled back on Conan Exiles. Conan Exiles just recently got a new update that basically allows your followers to not die. They now go into a state of what they're calling, I don't know who created this name, the downed but not out state, the DBNO state.
Okay.
It's a mouthful. Such that basically when one of your followers drops, they don't die immediately. Instead, you can basically go over and resurrect them. You bring them back, and then but they have to.
Pretty common in combat games.
Yeah.
Right, where like your friend gets downed and you can go pick them up.
But also in Conan Exiles, the followers are very collectible. Like, there are certain different levels that you can get of thralls of your followers, and so losing one that you've put so much effort into, they were like, that sucks. Maybe they saw like a lot of mods that were like, followers stay alive forever sort of mods, and they were like, we could do something about that. But they say that basically, 3 downs. Basically, you have like 3 strikes and you're out. If they're down 3 times within a certain window, within a certain time period, they'll still die. But you can bring them back. You can bring them back much easier now. And then they started a bounty hunting event as well, one that they've had in the past. But then they said in the same update, they were like, but 2 things. 1, we're going to have a new structure and tempo for content updates. The every 3-month cadence is not in their quote unquote sweet spot. So instead, they said, I guess they were just basically not happy with the quality or something, coming out once every 3 months. So they said they are now extending it to roughly every 6 months. So, and smaller updates like this one in between. So they're going to be they've now said from 3 months to 6 months. Have a good night, Uni. Take it easy. So now they're cutting tempo on they're doubling basically the time in between updates for Conan Exiles, and they said no more battle passes for the next age onward. The resources, they say, could better be spent elsewhere, which is a interesting. They say, as the nature of Conan Exiles and its development cycle has evolved, we've over time reached the conclusion that the time put into creating a new and engaging battle pass for each chapter can be better spent spread across several other areas of development. These include both the chapter content and now the updates between as well, with various activities and reward. So they're also getting rid of battle passes. I thought the battle passes were really working out for them, as one of their previous updates basically updated the battle pass. Did they mention previous battle pass rewards anywhere being available ever again at some point? I don't think so. But if we know, but listen, I'll say if we know them, it will probably be around again. Like, the rewards, or maybe not rewards, but it'll probably be in the store.
Yeah,
it might be a reward of something else
with some of this previous battle pass stuff that come out on rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Because
they're not getting rid of content.
The time making this stuff, it's kind of stupid to say, "Oh nope, never again."
But after they just went through, one of the previous updates was basically making it easier to advance in the battle pass. And now they basically turned around and said, nope, we're now getting rid of battle passes. This will be the last battle pass.
It might just be partly down to the, you're splitting your focus, right? You're making content just for the battle pass.
Mm-hmm.
On top of making the content that you're trying to push out in that 3-month cycle. It might have just went like, that's not working.
No.
Right?
So now they're switching to
content to be better, and the battle pass being filler. They already made changes to try and make it better for people, and then realize, you know what? Actually, not even worth.
Yeah, the whole thing doesn't even really worth. So they're even going to now switch to a longer cycle, but with smaller content updates in between, which is okay. I mean, but that kind of also shows it's sort of like even the moneymaker that is Conan Exiles, still going very strong. They're even still scaling that back to probably push more effort into Dune, is my guess. Yeah, predatory FOMO. I'm not the biggest fan of battle passes, personally, because I never get that far in them because I'm always spreading my time in between all different games. But it's okay. That's just the way I play. Yeah, predatory FOMO. I sort of have to finish, and I always wind up missing the things I wanted, even if I've spent ages working on the pass. But the kitty was on one of the earlier battle passes where it was harder to progress. Oh no! Like, gosh darn it. I just want the kitty.
I will say, like, it's not that I'm immune to that, but I also, like, as soon as I don't get something of it, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah. Like, in the moment, while that pass is active and I see the shiny, I might be like, ooh. But then if for whatever reason I don't get the thing, like, I don't have the after negative. That doesn't really work on me. But I think just like anyone else, I'm susceptible to seeing something shiny and wanting to work towards it. Like that part.
Of course. That's part of the whole part of the reason why we do it.
Busy or whatever, and then I'm like, oh, I don't have time. It's like, whatever. Like,
whenever I see one, I usually like look at it and I go, okay, what on this do I want, and how willing am I to work for it, basically. And there's something that's like, oh, it's all the way up at the top, and it's like, I'm not willing to put in that much effort. I've got other games to play. This game would have to be like the only game I play.
I think of it like that. I'll just look at something and be like, oh, that's neat looking, or that's cool looking, or right. But then, like, if I'm gonna play, I'm gonna play anyways.
Right, and that's the thing is,
then I'm not. Then it, like, I would say maybe the exception is like the New World Bunny Head, right? I was like, ooh, Bunny Head, I can get a Bunny Head. Right, I'm gonna farm the fuck out of this.
Yeah,
but that was a singular goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I like looked at how to do it, and it was basically just go kill a bunch of bunnies, right? And it's farmable spots. And I was like, okay, well that's easy. Like, farming. I'm your guy. I'm a farmer.
I can sit there and farm corn all day. Yeah.
I was gonna say, so Jimmy's the one that did for hours on end just farming corn
for no reason. There was no reason for that. I actively kept pausing the side mission so it would reset and let me farm more corn. I literally, in that 2-hour span, completed one side mission that would normally take you like a minute and a half.
It was just to do it. Yeah.
It was just to do it.
Just to do it. Just to be like, you know what I did? I farmed corn.
I'll just fucking do it. But like,
for 8 hours.
Like I was like Overwatch 2, right? Like its system, like at the end, I was like, oh man, that's a cool skin. And I was playing, and I was like, I don't have time for this shit. I was like, I just haven't screwed it back up. I've totally missed a bunch of stuff that would have been neat to have. And was I more in the mood to play it, I would have gotten it. But
yeah, you're not the only one. I haven't for the past 2 seasons. I haven't booted up Overwatch in like months.
I actually did like log in and do a couple of games like a week and a half ago or something like that. Just I was like, you know what? I haven't checked it out a bit. and realized my mouse sensitivity was way off. Like, well, I had noticed it in Secret World, but it's not as noticeable because like it's not an FPS game.
Right.
But I did notice that like clicking stuff or moving inventory was like being weird. My DPI was way too high. I got it Overwatch and I was like, whoa. Like, yeah, my aim was like a fucking crack addict.
You actually hit like that one button on the mouse that's like change DPI on the fly, and you're like, why would anyone want that?
Why is that button there?
Jacked it up to like 3,000 DPI or something.
Yeah, I always wonder. I always see that button. I'm like, why would I ever need that button? I'm just going to set it to the DPI I want.
I can actually tell you why. And it's related to the treadmill streams I just finished. So when I did the treadmill stream, I moved my computer physically over to the treadmill and hooked up to the TV. The TV is running a much lower, even though it's a big screen, it's running a much lower resolution than my big widescreen monitor. My big widescreen monitor is like 24 something by something, like it's huge.
Mm-hmm.
And over there, it's like 1920 1080. Over here, the higher DPI, I can move the mouse from one end of the screen to the other in a smooth motion. Over there, on the smaller resolution, it's like blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not saying why you need a DPI changes at all.
I can push the button over here, and then I take the mouse over there, and I push the button, and now it's the other DPI over there.
Okay, all right. That's a reason. I'll take it.
I found a use for it. That's all I'm saying.
I was saying that's a yeah. If you're constantly switching between different monitors of differing resolutions. Okay.
Yeah, because generally speaking, you want the DPI to be like, at least for me, I want to be able to move my mouse from one side to the other without having to like remove the mouse. Right? You don't want to move your mouse from left to middle and then have to like readjust the move from middle to right. That feels awkward. I want a sweeping motion. But when your screen sizes are massively different, that sweeping motion requires different sensitivity.
Yeah.
For me, at least.
I was gonna say that would indeed be a use case. That would indeed work.
But I got in the game and was like, "What the shit is this?" But yeah, I don't know. Like I think they probably realized that the battle pass is just, especially after their last update to it, right? Like they're trying to fix something that basically is like a time sink for not the return, and they'd rather just put out more quality content.
They're like, we just want to put out.
Smart decision. It's a smart decision, honestly.
Yeah. I think the only games that I've gotten through the battle passes have been. I do play Division 2. I do like Division 2. It's one of the games I play, and I've hit the battle pass like top 100 of the battle pass twice now.
Nice.
And I'm always surprised at that. But one of the reasons why I've got there is not because of what's on the battle pass that I want to achieve, but just because I just like playing the game, and then
just like naturally getting there.
Right, and then just naturally getting there. Yeah. Like, I'm not actively trying to hit 100 on the battle pass, but I have done so twice just because they've had it and it's been there, and it's like, yeah, no, I got it. But then also simultaneously, unless you pay for the battle pass, nothing on it is going to be that fantastic. It's going to be just basic stuff, basic drops, you know. Yeah. So it's not going to be like,
I will say
what I'm earning is not like the greatest.
Something I liked about Overwatch 2's Battle Pass thing is like you can earn the coins to pay for the next Battle Pass's like pay version.
And Conan Exiles had that style.
Yeah, like I do like that kind of thing because it incentivizes you to be like, oh, well, actually, if I do this one, I can like pay. I can literally earn the next one for free, basically, right? Like,
I wonder if that was also part of their idea to pull it back. Was they're basically like, once you buy a battle pass, we're only making money off the people who don't finish it. Yeah,
right. Right, because if they finish it and can buy the next one, well, they paid like $5 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and if they're that dedicated, if they're the people constantly playing, they're not paying for the battle pass. They're just earning it for free every time.
from a comment from the RP community.
Okay.
I'm not stopping you from sharing anything. Oh my god, never mind. I take it back. I take it back.
There's a small dedicated group that's been shrinking over the last few years due to lack of ongoing content and support. General consensus is that Funcom is content to let things run until we all quit and let that be the end of things. The question seems to be why anyone should bother even joining the game, particularly what used to be a vibrant and welcoming community, if all we're going to get is a half-baked promise.
Well, the problem with that is the idea that you got a half-baked promise. That's one problem I have with that statement. I don't think that is a true thing. That is a
that's an opinion. Yeah,
like opinion / assumption, but I don't agree with that statement. But that said, the reason that you join is because you enjoy the game and the community. The reason I'm still playing, I'm not like I sink a fuck ton of hours into playing this game, like just normally, and then just doing ridiculous challenges because I enjoy it. I am not reliant on Funcom to do anything other than keep the lights on. Like, if they turn the server off, I wouldn't be able to do my challenge run.
You won't be able to do them, yeah.
That would be a problem for me. But that's all that they are required to do. Like, when you subscribe, you get the benefits listed on the subscription. That's it. You get the content that is currently in the game at whatever state the game is in. If that is not good enough, then you should play something else.
I was saying the question is, well, why should anyone bother even joining the game?
I tell people play nothing else,
because the game is not a promise.
If you like RP, you don't even like. In my opinion, if you really like to RP, it's a great setting for it, and you don't actually need new content for the RP part of it. You are the content. You're creating your own content.
That's people around you are the content. Yeah,
it's the setting. So if the setting's on, in my opinion, you're good. Now, not everyone may share that opinion, and that's fine. I'm just saying that's my view on that particular thing.
But the game also has a lot of content. You could, to go through the entire game, do all the side missions, do all the main missions, do all the whatever, to go, and I'm not even talking about going all the way up to, to your level, Jimmy, and going all the way up to like, E17.
100% the game, it's like 100+ hours. And it's free. It's a free game. You don't have to sub to do that. Hey, Star Anvil.
Hey, Star Anvil.
I tell people all the time, like, if nothing else, play it like a single-player game.
Play it like a single-player game. That's the way I played it.
It's fucking free. Download it, play it, and then be done with it. At least you will have visited the world. You're aware of the world. If they put out something new, maybe it'll pique your interest. Like, all I would tell people, like, I'm never telling anyone come play this game in dungeon and raid every day. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's the best writing I've ever experienced in a video game. It's fucking free. All the writing, the amazing writing is free. Come play it like a single player. Like,
it's game. A great experience. It's a great experience.
If you find a niche you like, if you love the raid, or if you love the RP, or if you love, whatever you love about it and you want to stay, great. But just enjoy it for what it is, an amazing setting with amazing writing. And if enough people did that and like decided to hang around, maybe you would get new content. Even if it never does, it doesn't change the fact that the existing stuff is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And that I want other people to, at the very least, have had the opportunity to see it and enjoy it. Because if all anyone does is shit on the game for not being the thing you want it to be, all you're doing is spewing bile out into the world and depriving people who might have checked it out and got to enjoy a nice story from even checking it out. Like, let them come play the game. Let them come sharpen the dream, right? And be like, oh, wow, that was a cool thing. And then let them leave. And maybe they tell their friend. And maybe they tell their friend. And they're like, hey, there's this game. There's not a lot of stuff like new going on with it, but man, that story was amazing. You should at least check it out for that. And if enough people fucking did that, it would spread like the filth. It would fucking spread. Stop spreading salt and spread the filth.
Like the investigation missions, you know, like the investigation missions. Could you imagine someone who loves puzzles and all of a sudden they encounter these investigation missions and they're like, oh my gosh, like these are some of the hardest, most intriguing missions.
Would you like to translate Japanese while doing origami in order to solve a puzzle?
Right? Yeah, like
fucking play this game.
Yeah, like where do you get that? Like, you know, you don't get that experience from other games. You just don't. There's just no possible way you get that same experience from other games. It's an amazing thing, and to be like, you know, someone's like, oh, I like playing puzzle games. It's like, have you tried Secret Worlds? Have you tried Secret World puzzles? Go and do Kingsmith Code. Like, you know, one of the first ones it throws at you. Go and do Kingsmith Code.
I also want to add with the RP thing is that the community, yes, it still does events inside the game, but the majority of anything, the interactions, the play styles, the games is done offline. It's within Discord or other sites or even in the forums. So it's not that it's roleplay in Secret World is dead. No, it lives on elsewhere.
I mean,
we have a Discord server.
Person. I know it exists. I know that I see them sometimes, oftentimes in the same place. You know, Vollmer is RPing all
Vollmer, I know. I'm saying it's not dead.
That's what he's saying. Yeah, it's not. It's not. It's actually one of the greatest places for it.
I think they're because you were saying that stuff can happen out of game. That Vollmer's.
Well, no, I was replying to I forget with the roleplay community. Like I've said, is that not just because you don't see it, it's not as prevalent as it used to be within the game. It's offline. It's within Discord servers. It's other sites.
What I'm saying, Waffle, to what you're saying is Vollmer's taking that as like it's not happening in game, and Vollmer's just saying yes, it is happening in game. I'm saying both are true. The thing is, I don't think. It's also because of the instancing, you're just not as apt to see it, right? Even if it is happening in game, unless you're part of it already, you're gonna rarely stumble upon it. I've ran into it by accident a couple of times, just like tripped over an RP in the middle of Scorched Desert. I was like, oh, there's a bunch of fucking people here just standing around talking. Okay, cool, bye.
All right. Like, yeah, it happened. I always feel awkward. I always feel awkward in those situations. Like, oh, hey, you're RPing. Bye, see you. It's just going through.
Because you're on my friends list, even on alts. So like the game likes to try and put you in instances with your friends. So I have mistakenly just like ran through many of Vollmer RP events as I was doing a mission or something. But I mean, amazing. Yeah, you're not gonna. You're honestly though, you're not gonna see as a new player. You're not gonna see a lot of in-game RP likely, right? Because it's because of the instancing, you're not going to stumble upon it that often, or even the ones that are more like hub related. Like, I mean, unless certain things happen on the dance floor. I know. I think like that the London spot is pretty regular that I can think of off the top of my head. But again, if you're a new player, are you going to even know those are spots to like look like right unless you just stumble upon it?
But again, like, yeah, but the question seems to be why anyone should bother even joining the game if all we're going to get is a half-baked promise. But their promise is that they have a game and the game exists and it's good. That's basically what they're offering.
Sorry, Anvil played it as a Monster Hunter game and made the wife solve the puzzles. And the other thing is, like, you don't have to solve the puzzles. Like,
they're all optional too. Yeah.
How do I encourage someone to come be part of Avengers Infinity War fan base when the last part of the movie hasn't been produced yet? That sells itself. What are you talking about?
Avengers isn't done yet.
It's Avengers. That sells itself.
But even that's not even done, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, event like it's literally like event. It's a comic book thing. It's like never fucking ending. Again, I
It's
don't
never
know why
ending.
people.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know where this thing of like it's done comes from. Like MMOs don't finish. The point is they don't finish. If they finished, you would leave. The
Right.
point of all of them is the story does not end.
And it's a
I do
world.
not
It's a
understand where this
world
comes from.
to live in. It's a world to play
World of
in. You
Warcraft
know.
didn't fucking just story just stop. That's not how it works. I don't understand that.
Have a good
I
night,
can't
Brandon. Thanks for dropping in.
I just don't get it. I don't get it.
Well, I think many people think, oh, it's a game's a game. Well, MMOs are a continuing aspect of a game. A solo or a single player game, there is an ending because the game ends. Look at Baldur's Gate 3. You go through chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. It might take you hours to get through it, but you do become at a point where it does end.
I understand that, but the end doesn't mean the story ends in a resolution, though, is what I'm trying to say. Even a single player game, right, doesn't necessarily end in a resolution.
Right.
It's not all movies end with like a bow and tie it together. Like everything's tied up. I mean, some do, sure. Well, like if you play like Half-Life 2, when that shit ended, you reach the end of the game, the story is not remotely done. What's with G-Man? Why am I in the briefcase? Where are we going in this subway car? Like, the game ends. There's no Half-Life 3. We have not gotten Half-Life 3 in, what, 20 years or some shit? How old is Half-Life 2? Like, the game ended. Credits rolled, but the story was not remotely done.
I think what a lot of people are getting hung up on is the semantics of what a personal feeling of what an ending is inside of a game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You, as I'm not pointing to one person, I'm not Jimmy or Kama or anybody else. It's you as you have in your mind thinking, okay, the game has to end when it gets to a certain point, and at that point, then that is truly the end of the story of the experience. With games, there is, like Jimmy, like you said many times, there is really no ending. Same thing with movies, TV shows. There's a story that you can continue on in your own mind, or you can search out through other media. Like a lot of TV shows end, but then they have a continuation a couple years later within a comic book series or in a novel series. Yes, the story ended within one media format, but it continued in another direction in another format. It doesn't end. There is no brick wall to all of a sudden that you're running into.
I mean, we're not going to see eye to eye on this because you think Half-Life 3 was promised and was not delivered. Like, we're never going to see eye to eye on this topic. It's just not going to happen. So we will have to agree to disagree on that.
Well, I have to disagree that incompetent storytelling, that is a very loaded line on the comment there. What tell me, actually, what do you believe is competent storytelling compared to incompetent? Do you think G.R.R. Martin is an incompetent storyteller because he has not finished the series of books? But the story ended in the HBO series. Is that correlate one from the other?
I'm just thinking of to go back to
it's not incompetent storytelling. You just don't like that it doesn't end the way you want it to, or that it doesn't continue. It doesn't make it incompetent storytelling.
Yeah, it's just a
short
answer. Yes, but
I'm just
okay.
Saying, look. I'm just saying. All I'm saying is, I'm old enough. I've had enough experience. I know, like, we are fundamentally not seeing this the same way. So no amount of debate is going to like sway because we are not fundamentally looking at it from the same lens, right? So it's just not going to happen. So while I appreciate the spirited debate. Like, we're not going to move one another. We have differing like core foundations we're operating from that aren't gonna shift.
Yeah,
so I don't think that's productive.
But I'm even thinking also, of like, for like, I'm gonna give an example of when Funcom announced, oh, we're gonna be doing a whole bunch of stuff with Dune. I was like, I never read Dune. I should probably read Dune. Because that's how my brain works. I'm like, I like going back to the beginning, to the source material, and consuming the source material and being like, now it makes sense. Now everything fits together nicely. And so I read through Dune, and I think Dune is a good book. I enjoyed it. But you know what? The ending was super fucking rushed. Like, the last chapter is just like, and now we're going to get everything done all at once. And it's like a 900-page book. And like in the last like 30 pages, they do like 1,000 things all at the same time. And it's like, okay, someone basically was like, no, dude, you need to finish this fucking book. This book needs to get out. Like, you need to end this thing like now. Does that make Frank Herbert an incompetent writer? Because he just basically rushed the end of the book, because the book was, was so lengthy and was so detailed that by the end he just was like, and all of a sudden he's just going to get into a fight with the main bad guy, and he kills he's going to kill him, and then he's going to marry the princess, and he's going to live happy ever after. Like, like
Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, like
or they just do a wrap up. Is what that is. But look, this is what I'm saying.
Does that make him incompetent? Like, no.
The point is, this comes back to that basic thing of, you think you're owed something. Tell that you owed your audience. No one owes you anything or owes the audience anything. There's nothing owed. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's not how I believe that works. That's not how I think most people think that works. The entitlement is too much. You paid money.
I think you're not getting
money
it.
for the thing. That's not what you paid money for. You didn't pay money for Secret World, the entire story. That's not what happened. You paid money for this month's perks in the game that exists as it is.
Time.
It's like, you got your money. You got the time in the game. That's what you paid money for. You're owed nothing.
You're owed that. You're owed your free daily cash.
If you feel like you want to be owed something, what you should actually do is get several $1 million, go to Funcom, and say, I will fund you this amount of money in order to finish Secret World Legends. That is the only valuable way that you can have in your description, how you've been saying things, that you feel entitled to be owed a continuation or a conclusion of the story. Put up the money to do that conclusion.
Every time I play the lottery, I do always think that in the back of my head. You know what I can do with this money?
Yeah. But the thing is, it's like, I'm not going to get
more
very personal, because as a creator, what you're telling me is that if I am creating a piece of content in one format, and I decided, well, I all of a sudden the funding runs out, it's like, well, I still want to continue my story. I'm going to write books on it instead of as a TV series. So from what you're telling me as a creator is that you're an incompetent creator, because you couldn't finish a story in one media format. You had to go to something else. That is actually, to me, insulting.
It's insulting.
It is.
It's frustratingly insulting.
Because there's a lot of creators that bust their butts. Avatar: The Last Stand didn't deal with it. No, I deal with you. I'll give you a warning and just go away.
Yeah, that's inappropriate behavior. Like, at this juncture, it's
you got a timeout.
Being inappropriate.
Yeah, you just want to That's just really pissed me off.
It's not okay. You can't be that way to people, and it's not like anyone chooses. I mean, oh god, my brain, dude, fucking memory problems. There's that cartoon with the cat avocado. The space cartoon, kind of like Futurama looking, but like a serious one. I think Conan's company did it. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about.
But
that was a super amazing show. Final Space, thank you, Valmer. Final Space never got its finale, like because they, they just didn't get renewed. They couldn't do anything about it, and that guy has been fighting forever to be able to get the rights to do a comic book, to finish it, to finish the story, to be able to give people that wanted the ending, fighting forever, like his own money. Finally, after years, like he got, because it's like Fox or something. It's a big fucking company, right? Like he got, and like super specific. So like they're, even while letting him do this, they're being giant dickholes. They're like, it can only be this number of pages. It can only be this kind of format. You have this long to do it in, right? It can only be like this. You can only sell it this way, right? Like all these crazy stipulations, but he found a way to get them to agree to let him finish his own story, because they own rights, right? You can't just make it himself. They purchased publishing rights and whatever when he got the show funded. So like all this shit, all this personal heartache, and that dude was doing everything to get the ending to his fans, the loving story, the ending to those people. And what you're saying is you're an incompetent storyteller. Get fucked.
Yeah.
Like that's bullshit.
Yeah, that's just pissed me off. Bullshit. I'm like, I can see we're like good discussion, going back and forth. Like, okay, see how from our end, we can see it from your end, but your entitlement to that, you think you're owed something? No, I'm sorry. If you go up to any artist or any content creator, anybody that creates anything, and you say, I gave you money, you owe me something, piss off.
Yeah, it's just not, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't get pissed off, but it's like, take an hour, sit in a corner, figure out what you want to come back with next time or next episode. And if it's the same old crap, I'm just going to ban you.
I don't think I've ever seen Waffle mad.
No, that pissed me off.
No, for good reason. For good reason. Yeah. I'm just saying that's something new and different.
But Jimmy was totally right. It's not even like we have different opinions on this. It's just that we are coming at this from, we have different life, different ways that we view life itself, you know?
Well, yeah, we're not going to agree on this, but I it's an opinion. I think it's a bad one. I don't think you should hold that opinion. There's many reasons not to, but I don't feel like getting in a debate about it, because it's not something that you can. Those type of foundational differences are not easily overcome. You're not going to do it on a podcast, like via text and talking. It's not going to happen. So like, there's no point in like taking that further.
Yeah. Be like, yeah, you're not going to necessarily sway us, and we're not going to sway you. You know, I was saying like, well, what product do we have? The game exists, and it's here, and it's playable, and it's good. That should be enough.
That should be more than enough.
More than enough. It's free. It's fucking free.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's so much, like Jimmy, you said it, there's hundreds of hours of available content. If you have never played a game, you're going to spend plenty of time playing it, and you're going to have a good experience with it. And it's like, if you had a bad experience, oh, okay, so what? You just had a bad experience with it. Move on to another game. And it's called life.
Think about if we were still in TSW right now. Think about if we were still in TSW right now. You would have to buy the game to play the existing story that was not getting updates, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here you play it for free. In fact, if it was the original model, Secret World's original model was a subscription model, right? And you'd still be subbed. People still sub to games that don't get new content. You're subbing to play the existing game. You literally, many games you sub to get access to the game in its state. That does not guarantee you new content. It just gives you the ability to play that content, right?
Gives you time.
A norm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like
I would say this when people buy
the best free story you can get. Fucking enjoy it.
I always say, like, when it comes to video games, it's like you see video games go on sale and they start at a price of like what, like, it used to be $60. Now it's like a little,
70, 80 bucks.
70, 80, right.
Zero DLC pre-purchase.
Right, yeah. But it starts at that price, right? But what is that price for? If in, say, 3 months, the game is suddenly $40.
Yeah.
Or in a year, at like a Christmas sale, it's down to half price, or it's down to, even lower. And then 2 years later, it's down to whatever. What are you paying for? Because the experience itself in the game usually doesn't change. Because we're usually talking about like AAA, like single players, right? So what do you end up, what are you paying that difference? What are you paying that 50% difference? What are you paying that 60% difference for?
Playing it first.
It's basically the time. You're paying for that time of playing it first, of playing it when it's still in the public consciousness, of playing it when it's basically the brand new thing and everyone's talking about it. You're paying for that premium to be a part of that conversation when it comes out, right? Like, that's basically what you're paying for. Otherwise, the story is still going to be there. The story is not going to change. If you play it 2 years from now, 3 years from now, the story's not going to change. The experience could slightly change because you're not part of that conversation, but it's like you're still getting the same thing. It's just
I used to give what's her face crap for on Beyond the Veil was they'd be like, well, where's the new content for the new players? And I was like, yo, they have to get through all the old content to us. It's new to them. They've got they got hundreds of hours. What are you talking about? We don't need new content for new players.
Yeah,
the new players have all the content in the world to get through.
They've got the 100 hours of content, right? That is their content.
Like, what are you talking about? They're fine. The brand new player coming to Secret World does not give a flying shit about the next chapter because they need to get through the first 100 hours of the game. And the biggest problem with Secret World is the people that don't put in that time. They don't make it past like Kingsmith, or they don't make it out of Solomon Island. And if they make it to Egypt, they don't make it to Transylvania. Like, and so they don't make it ever to Tokyo. Like, the problem isn't the lack of content as far as like for new players. There's plenty there. And again, it's free. I don't know, man. It's amazing. On a lighter note, here's a clip for you, Waffle.
Nope. Blocked.
God damn it, Waffle! Why can I not put clips in our own fucking channel? Waffle, why do I not have link rights in our own channel? I thought we fixed this. This is supposed to be a professional organization.
Jimmy, I'm going to put you in timeout for 1 hour.
Jimmy.
God damn it.
No, you should be a mod.
I don't see a...
There's not a mod thing next to his name.
All right,
he has the Overwatch League All Access Pass.
You demoted me at some point, sir?
Jimmy lost his mod status somehow.
There you go.
Does that let me post a link?
Yes, it does.
All right, so that if you can pull that up, it's pretty great.
Well, I gotta hold on.
When you were just a left leg.
I'm on.
love that it works.
I didn't do that. One of the devs did it. This is the end of my treadmill fist basic only run. Watch as I like when I walk around and like hop. It's amazing. I'm just a Orochi. I'm a singular Orochi leg with a head. Somehow. So I finished.
Brilliant.
I finished the fist basic treadmill run. Just FYI.
Okay.
And
how's your knee holding up?
My knee is fine. My thighs, on the other hand, are shredded. Just brutalized. But I would say 45 hours, 45 minutes of playtime. 102 miles on the treadmill.
Ooh.
Nice.
102 miles to beat the game front to back with just the fist basic ability.
Just fist only.
Just the fist basic ability
102 miles. Wow.
102 miles.
Good job. But I do want to point this out. Aster says, I recently got a friend into Secret World. They've been really enjoying it, and they're almost done with Transylvania. They've said that the game has inspired them in a way that an MMO hasn't in a long time, and I thought y'all would like to know about that. Yes.
I love that.
The only way
I get through Tokyo. Also, It's so weird. Like when you really go back and think about it, Secret World's really dark and depressing. But it's just done so well. It's done so well that I don't like think about that most of the time. But like, everything ends awfully, just horribly. But
like we're in the fourth age, right? Like the game takes place and they say we're in the fourth age, right?
Yeah.
None of these ages end well. What makes you think we're gonna end it? Like pretty much
everyone's screwed. Everyone you meet in Kingsmith's already dead and doesn't know it. Like everyone is screwed. Like you could, what? Like
part of the story here is that we can't save the world,
right?
We can try,
but it's all done so well. It's all executed so amazingly well and written so well that, like, at no point I'm like, am I ever like, oh man, this is a downer? I'm always engaged in what's happening, right? I'm always like, oh my god, that was an amazing line. Not like, oh, that's actually really messed up. And if I stop to think about what that actually means, it's probably just like really messed up. It's just, I don't know.
It sort of brings in that mind of I remember hearing someone say one time, it's like, there's a famous Tolkien line, why did this have to happen in my lifetime? Why did this have to happen to me? Why did this have to happen in my lifetime? When it comes to like, big events like that, it's like, we don't get to choose that. All we do is what we're designed to, all we do is just what we do to make ourselves happy. And like, understand that during the fall of the Roman Empire, there were still people who lived very long, happy lives. Not everything was disaster. And yeah, there's a lot of hope amidst all the cosmic and psychological horror. The point is kind of like, I always see this game, one of the common themes is that, like, the world is falling apart. The world is basically falling apart. But that doesn't mean you have to be depressed about it all the time. It could be the underlying thing. It could be the whatever. Wars happen, climate change, this, that, like, a whole bunch of things are very monumental to our world and are basically falling apart. That doesn't mean we can't take the time to be happy and hopeful that we can help change that, or we can help make a difference, or we can help, do stuff. That I've always seen as one of the themes of Secret World, that even when everything's falling apart, you can still do what you can to make the world a little bit better.
I personally think there's a lot less hope in the game than people think, but I still think it's really good.
Oh yeah.
But I also think that is a sign of how well executed it is.
Yeah.
I actually think some of the hope is like a mislead. And if you like look into some of that, it's actually like not hopeful, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not that there's not some genuine moments, because there are, but I think most of them also still, if you really think about it, tend to end negative, or inevitably will. But it doesn't stop from like, I don't know. That's what I'm saying though. It's a testament to how well they do it. As I actually think a lot of it is even darker than it appears, but they just do it so well. It's so well done. I'm such a fan of that.
What do you?
Well,
I haven't completed my
the
template
dragon,
playthrough yet.
the dragon has a shift. You have to play the dragon, but the dragon has a shift towards the end. So, in my opinion, dragon is best, and KG is a close second. I rate the faction handlers, dragon, then Lumi, then Templar personally, but only because of spoilers, and is all I'll say about that for right now.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. KG is phenomenal. She's one of the best characters that this game has. KG's amazing. But the dragon, I think, have the most concentrated story out of any of the factions.
There's just so, and also there's so much. It's actually so hard to absorb all of it, because like legitimately, I played through every faction multiple times, and some of them are speed runs, right? But I've done so many runs where I read everything, right? Where like I'm reading it aloud on stream. Never mind the playthroughs I've done off stream on my own, right? Right, but once I force myself to like read everything aloud for stream content, like I've done so many of them, and like there's so much. You have to read every mission report from every faction. A lot of them actually overlap. Like there's legitimately there's like some side missions where like the half of the story is in the dragon turn-in, and half of the story is in the Lumi turn-in, and the Templar turn-in is like a placeholder. No one's here to take your message, call back later. Right? Like, so like, because there's some side missions that have like that filler text, basically, right? Where there's nothing there. But like in that same side mission, the Lumi one has like kind of one half of this weird story about it, like backstory about that is like contextual for the rest of the world. And then the dragon has the other piece of it. And you would have to play both factions, reading all faction reports, stumble upon those two, and realize they interlock. Like, the scope, the fucking diagram that their storyboard has to be is goddamn insane. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I mean, we see that in one of the faction missions. What is it? The faction mission that's in the parking garage, right?
Into Darkness?
Yeah. Yeah. In that when we play that in TSW, and that like when you go in there, and I assume it's now the same because it's the same faction mission. I just haven't played through it, but on each whatever. But like you encounter basically the same situation, just slightly changed in time from the other factions. So in one, it's like, oh, there's this dead guy over here, where in the other one, it was like, there wasn't a dead guy there. That dead guy happened in between the two, like, you know, when one faction came and another faction came. Yeah, so it's like, that's just one example.
There's so much that doesn't contextually make sense until like your second or third playthrough, when you read like, you know, something that one of them says, and you're like, wait a minute, this is referencing something you couldn't possibly know unless you already played through Tokyo. But this is a Kingsmith mission. How would you know that? Right? Like, there's so much. It's such a like a big like mind fuck of, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that's what's so great about it, is it's not just a linear story. It is a world. You need to do everything in it to try and like properly define the world, right? Because it all does it. It like people be like, oh, a side mission isn't a real story, or like a dungeon is. No, it's all of it matters.
All of it.
All of it fills in the gaps. Like different pieces fill in the gaps, and you start to understand like this big thing that is the secret world. Like, it's so crazy. I've never seen anything like, I would say I'd say the closest I've seen to it is maybe like the early Assassin's Creeds before Ubisoft just went fucking marker bananas crazy.
Okay.
Like Assassin's Creed 1, 2, maybe, because you were like piecing together elements of like prior timeline like shift things, and like
right, because in the
and that
in the
kind of had like
first,
a Templar kind of faction, right? And so like
yeah,
you unlock this mystery piece puzzle that it interacts with this over here, and like you start learning the sort of it had its own hidden history of the world, right? You have to like piece together. And then they kind of
but
like
yeah,
fuck that up the further out they get in the games, where they're just like, here's your upgrade system, and here's 12 billion markers and all these achievements to go do. And by the way, build a ship and then do this. And like,
yeah,
no, man, they needed to do the story part. But they started out, that's probably the closest thing I've ever seen to like Secret Worlds, like massive, like the IP that just is this massive thing, and you just want to find out more about what is the Secret World. I want to know everything about it, you know?
and the only way to do that is to get everything. But right, the first couple, was it the Assassin's Creed 1 basically ends with basically like, here's this thing. What the fuck is it? Like, you know,
and
Assassin's Creed 2, there's part of a, I think there's one of the two, because I think it was 2 was like 3 separate games. Or was that 3? I forget. But like, but one of them ends in such a way where it's sort of like, yeah, he ends up like going and seeing like the future beings or whatever. Yeah. And then they turn to him and they're like, I'm talking to you, but I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the person who's looking at your memories through you. I'm communicating with the person beyond you, sort of thing. And it's sort of like, what the hell?
Wait,
what?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so many of the Assassin's Creed games that ends with like, what the shit was that? Wait a minute, hold on. And they don't explain a damn thing.
The one that had like the Norse gods and stuff, like that one was pretty. That one had a lot of the bullshit, but it's towards the end, I think, had a little bit of the return to at least some of the story, or at least a little more of the story. Like I've played like all of those games. But they have gotten progressively more about like the Ubisoftification of the game.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And it's all about like that meta game and like the activities and the things and they seem to be. You pay a lot for a very little story. They really stretch that out.
Yeah,
it seems like.
I played up through for Assassin's Creed. I do like the Assassin's Creed series, probably for like the same reasons. It's just it hits that
world
like
building. In the beginning, they had amazing world building and this really cool
that like connection to like history and this sci-fi aspect and like this the competing factions of
Well, and just that, like, it's discovery, right? You're learning it. You're learning about this world, and Secret World does that so well that you're learning about, like, the world looks like your world, but it's not, right?
Yeah. Like so it's like you're controlling a guy on a sailing ship from like the 1600s, but you're actually dealing with like far superior technology from these ancients and blah 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 blah, and connecting it to like the future and and
you're like and you're in a simulation of a simulation of a simulation. The whole thing is simulation.
So, it's a whole simulation on top of that, right? That's why they allow you to bring in like, I'm gonna make this weapon, is because you're in a simulation. It's not really real, It's
it's again so. The thing that they did well, and they kind of like they sort of sold out on, honestly.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, but like I feel like Secret World does that like even better. Like it's so good at it, and I think even given the staggering amount of hours I have in this game, which is fucking ridiculous, like I'm still capable of finding new little links or new little nuggets of information that link to something else and makes you go like aha, which is fucking crazy. And I genuinely know, like, there's just no way for me to even keep it all in my. It's not possible. There's too much data to possibly.
It's so dense. The writing is dense. Every word has meaning. Every word has purpose. Everything has a reason that it's there. It's not like nothing is filler. Everything exists for a reason. and you may not know the reason that it's there, that it's showing. You may look at the thing and be like, okay, but yeah, when taking it into other context, you're like, holy shit. This all comes together. It's all.
I'm saying the storyboard for this thing, like
yeah,
especially when they were like in full production. You know, obviously, like right now they're not, right? I get that, but when they were in like full production and still producing like new story bits for it, like goddamn, that board had to look fucking insane.
Yeah.
Don't forget, this little thing over here says X, so this cannot say Y.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you know what I mean? Like whoever's job that shit is, holy shit.
But how many times in other games I'm
in Secret World?
Like I'm playing another game and it's like it gives you like a nugget of a thing and I'm like, holy shit, let me find where that leads. And like I go to the thing, it's like, wait, this guy just said something about something, and it's like it's not a quest, it's not an actual quest in the game, but I'm sure it might lead somewhere. And like I try to follow these crumbs that don't exist because they didn't actually think about it that far.
Yeah, whereas in Secret World, you're like, hold on, let me go to the Orochi website.
Yeah.
It does exist.
Wait a minute, they put something here. Hold on, let me check. Oh my gosh, it does exist. Oh my gosh.
Of Wicker's fucking speech that you can still go watch to this day. It's insane.
I've always said that one of those moments for me was when it was the speaking of a mission that's not in, it was a investigation mission.
One we talked about earlier.
Yeah, and the one that had the that was like you find like a business card and it's got a phone number on it, and I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do with this? Well, I guess I need to find a phone. And I like tried to find like, well, where is there a phone in the game I could use? I'm like, okay, let me go to Kingsmith. There's a couple of phone booths in Kingsmith. Maybe I could use one of those phones. Nope. Okay. Search around wherever. Yeah. And I was like, wait. No, wait. They actually gave me a phone number. Wait. Do they make me want to call London for this mission? And I was like, all right, shit, I'm doing it. And sure enough, yeah, you actually physically made the phone call, called a 1-800 number in England, and it was like a voicemail with like the music tone that then solved the next riddle. I was like, God damn it.
I think that might be one of the reasons that mission didn't get ported.
Exactly.
That.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that might have caused them problems in the free-to-play market of like having people just like
forcing people to make a phone call to London. Yeah. But that blew my mind. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. No, it again, like just the fact that like you can the one of the Kaiden missions, like you literally go look up an Imager account to solve. Like an actual Imager account and look at one of the pictures to go solve. Like it's not like they just like I guess anyone could make a custom website, right, for their game. But how many accounts they have in like actual other live sites is wild.
You hope somebody has the password to them somewhere.
I just hope they don't get like taken down or like deleted or something, or discontinued or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hacked or something.
Like imagine like Imager's just like, we quit. And you're like, oh fuck, how do I solve that mission now?
I say, Vommer, I'm pretty sure I didn't. I had like an AT&T like flip phone at the time. I'm pretty sure, you know. No, it was after I was married. So no, I didn't have a flip phone. I probably had a smartphone, but it was like one of those. It was like a Samsung Galaxy S2. You know, it was one of the early smartphones. And so, pretty sure I paid for that international call. I remember I did not check the thing. I just paid the bill as normal. You know,
you just said worth it.
Yeah, whatever it was, I was like, nope. How long could like a 30-second call to the UK be? You know.
Well, 30 seconds. You said how long could it be?
Oh, how long could it be? How much could it be? Yes, it could be 30 seconds. You just said.
My guess is 30 seconds, sir.
You are correct. Yeah, like how much could that be? Like I was like, what is it gotta be? Like $4, $5 at most? I don't even know. Like, but whatever, worth it. Like, I'm going to try it out. And yeah, once doing that actually gave me the answer, I was like, totally worth it. 100% worth it. One of the greatest gaming experiences of my life right there. Just I will never forget that the in-game mission had me call a phone number in London to get a voicemail to give me a audio code I was like, no,
I'm trying to remember which one. I think for me it was just like looking up like an ISBN number, and I was like,
okay, yeah,
really? Amazon? Okay, I guess.
Yeah. Like, yeah, where can I look up an ISBN? It's like, yeah, Amazon's one of the best places for it.
Like as soon as I realized that you actually needed to go outside the game and like go to real websites, I was like, this is fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. Like, having played Kingsmith Code. Kingsmith Code has you go outside the game quite a bit. You're looking up like the original like Vulgate Bible and this for like the specific
term for about this. That mission though, and I warned someone about this. I was like, hey, by the way, just so you know, because they were talking about being concerned about the investigation or something.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's that one, because that one has the portrait, right? The fucked up thing about that investigation mission is it's one of the first ones you can do, right?
Oh, if you look at the wrong portrait, it messes you up.
If you look at the wrong portrait, it doesn't tell you that you're wrong. It gives you a puzzle to solve. And the solution inevitably to that puzzle leads you back to that room. Which is a mindfuck. You're like, wait, I thought I solved the thing right. Why am I back here? I must have done it wrong. People get stuck in loops thinking like they just solved the portrait puzzle. Like, no, it brought me back here. Right? So like the all of them are red herrings. None of them say like wrong portrait. They're all have like a puzzle that you then go to the thing, which gives you something else that sends you back to that room, and you're like, well, shit.
I'm back here again.
Well, the solution to that is go to tswdb.com.
That's right. That's the ultimate solution.
I told that person, I was like, look, I don't want to spoil it for you, but I just want to let you know, because they had some concern about stuff. I was like, FYI, if you get something wrong, you won't know it. I don't want to spoil it, but just be aware, if you get something wrong, it's not the kind of game that's going to tell you, you got it wrong. You're going to figure out a puzzle, and you're going to be like, well, I'm back where I started. That means you chose poorly. Try again. Because I seen that happen to someone else like firsthand, and they got really confused. They didn't understand how they would end up back at the same place. And so they kept trying to solve the same wrong portrait over and over again. I felt so bad for them. I was like, you gotta go back a step. You missed solved the first part before that.
Yeah. But it's like,
it must be this picture. No, you picked the wrong picture.
But it's like the sheer variety of the investigation missions and just what they have you do is,
dude, they're crazy,
mind-boggling.
I was watching someone. There's two. One, I watched someone go through solving the one in Scorched Desert where you have to translate Arabic and Hebrew.
Oh God, yeah.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
And then the other one is I somehow randomly, this was years ago, caught a stream where someone was solving.
Have a good night, Bomber.
Good night, Bomber.
Someone was literally folding origami and like translating the Japanese. Like they had the camera like on their hands, like they were like literally doing it live. I was like, holy shit. they got origami paper. They were trying to translate the Japanese, and they were folding the paper like I was like, that's awesome.
I remember I did that, but it's like I just had no idea about the Japanese. I was just trying my best. I was like, I don't even know how to do that. How do I even put this into Google Translate? I'm like, I don't even know.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? The ones that are like pictures, right? The ones that are not like if it's like French or Spanish or something, right? You can usually just type it. But like Arabic and Hebrew? Good luck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like how the
It's not like, Japanese.
how am I gonna do that?
Good luck.
Yeah.
Like nowadays it's easier. Nowadays my Google Translate has a camera on my phone.
Yes.
See?
Yeah.
So nowadays it'd be I could maybe do it with the phone's assistance. But trying to go seeing someone go look up Arabic symbols, be like, I think it's this one. Go look up symbols. Like
it's like if you don't know how the structure of Arabic, like good luck. It's
crazy.
It's like I do believe Google Translate was a thing. It wasn't as good as it is today. Yeah, and
it would have been way harder on the picture ones because it's not like it's a text in game that you can copy. So even if it was a character, maybe you could have copied it into Google, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like just copy paste the character, but they're pictures. They're pictures.
Yeah, I think at one point it was like I had to download a specific on-screen Arabic keyboard or something, or an on-screen Japanese keyboard, so to work with Windows or something, nice. And it's like, oh man.
No,
and that's one thing that I was like, even on this character, I haven't done all the investigation missions because I've already done them. I've already but that's one of the problems, of course, is that once you do them, they're done.
But once you do them, they're really quick daily
to do missions. Again. Yeah.
Investigation missions are some of the ones I redo the most, honestly, because once you do know them, they're usually super quick.
Yeah.
Super quick. It's the figuring them out that takes the time, right? Missions where you fight enemies, they're always going to take even when you can one-shot things, right? You got to blow through them. Right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those have more steps, but the investigation ones are oftentimes click.
Oh yeah, you get the thing. Go there, click on that. Go there, click on that. Go there, click on that. Go there. Final thing, click on that. Done. Yeah.
Yeah. I can do Besieged Farmland, the one with the medicine. I can do that one in I think probably 45 seconds or something. Maybe less. Because it's DCV. The vials are DCV. 1, 2, 3. Click, teleport, up the stairs, click, teleport. Porphyria. You're done. That's it.
Yeah.
It's so fast. But if you go try and figure that out, oh my god,
take you a while.
Yeah. 2 hours.
That's one of the ones where it's okay, you need another periodic table, and then for the periodic table, you need to do the code that's based from the periodic table. And
you know what I have done though on prior streams, I have done is I'm every once in a while I'll do a run through and I'll be I'm gonna solve it correctly. It doesn't matter that I know where to go, right? The point is, as an exercise on stream, I'm going to go through the exercise of solving it.
Yeah.
So they can still be fun in that respect if you have the inclination to do that, I guess, right? If you're you know what, I haven't solved this one the right way in a while. Let's see if I remember how. Right? And then you're okay, medicine. Now I know which one to put to him, but why? I'm gonna read the chart. Okay, this makes sense. Now look this up. Right. Okay, that's why it's this one, right? So you can do it as an exercise, but I mean, you have to have the want to do that, I guess.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of
that a couple of times.
There's a lot of old school games that are like that too, where it's if you already know where to look to get that's why you can do speed runs of this sort of stuff. It's if you already know where to look to find the item that you need, you don't need to have somebody tell you that an item exists and where to find it. You don't need to go through the process. You can just go to the item and pick it up. So,
by the way, this game is still ridiculously long to speedrun. I don't think I've got it under 29 hours.
Yeah.
It's like 29 hours every time, no matter what I seem to do. What I really need to do is find glitches. I need a glitch run. I need to somehow find a glitch that lets me get into South Africa, straight from Kingsmith or something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the plane is there.
Finds a way to glitch the the cutscene or something.
The plane to South Africa is in Kingsmith. surely there's a way to glitch it so it just launches me to the end of the game. That would be amazing.
If there's anything for the was a Secret Fox, the one that makes all your mods.
Yeah, a mod can't, because the mods are just visual. But you might know information, but I think just certain things aren't turned on or something.
Yeah, no, probably.
And I don't think you can share story missions. But if you could group with someone while they went to do that or something, and it I don't know, somehow took you with them, that'd be fucking crazy. You know what I mean? It'd have to be something like that.
Yeah,
I do know.
Go through the front, run to Kingsmouth, follow someone else there.
The problem is, even if you can get into the zone, I don't think that necessarily helps, because the biggest issue is it doesn't advance the tier of your storyline mission.
Right.
Right? Your blue line mission would still say Kingsmouth, not South Africa. Because I remember early on in Legends launch, I think people could still get to one of the later zones without having finished Kingsmouth.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe that was in TSW. I don't remember. There's a way where you could be level 10 and be in fucking Besieged Farmland somehow. But it didn't change your story completion. You could just go to that zone and do content there. But your story wouldn't go any further, right? It would still be stuck on, go talk to Andy or something, right? Or go talk to Norma. It'd still be stuck on that tier, but you could end up in a zone you're not supposed to be in. Whereas when I do a challenge run, a new character at the end of the game, it's to get to the end of the story and trigger that pop-up. So that even if I could somehow get into the zone, I don't think it would solve the problem of advancing the story tier 50 tiers. I think that's just probably not happening, unfortunately.
You can't skip that, no.
Yeah. And then the level gating is a little rough.
I was gonna say, I think it's a little late.
Yeah.
I find myself, I'm starting to crash. Say, well, it was
interesting.
Not as lighthearted an episode as normal, but
Well, I did, I had one leg for you guys. That's all I'm saying. I had one leg.
You do. Keep it to yourself. We know which one. Dude, keep it to yourself.
I was laughing so hard I almost slipped backwards off the treadmill. That's great.
Agents, this has been the 0 Point Report, strain 93-NMB. You can catch us recording live Thursday nights when we can, around 9 p.m. Eastern Time here in the 0 Point Report Twitch channel, where you can also join us and chat with us while we do the show live, or download our show wherever podcasts are found so you can listen to us on the go. Jimmy, where can we find you online?
JimmyTheRabbit.com has been revamped.
Ooh.
You can find me there.
Awesome. Two-Ton Waffle, where can we find you?
You can find me at twotonwaffle.com. All my stuff is there.
See, now I feel like I'm behind the game. I need to get my own website now. And I'm Ocho.
Into a sponsor, Squarespace. Not sponsored, but
not sponsored. You can find me on Twitch, Blue Sky, and Mastodon. All links at linktree/BigMikeyOcho. You can get in touch with us by engaging with the show on Twitter at 0 Point Report, checking out previous shows on our YouTube channel, and joining us on our Discord server, both named the 0 Point Report. So from all of us here at the 0 Point Report, I want to thank you for tuning in and wish you all the best from the secret world. Have a great night, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.